Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another morning, Wednesday edition of 30 NSG. How's everyone doing? On today's show, we're going to be covering a couple different topics. We're going to be covering a story that we talked about yesterday, but not really the Insomniac story. We're going to talk about Ratchet & Clank. Yesterday's stories, we talked about Ratchet & Clank, and Gaming Bolt, the article that we got it from, talked about how it sold 2.2 million copies, and now today they've updated it. It says Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart shipped 2.7 million units. What we're going to talk about today is I'm going to try to... I grabbed as much information as possible, and my content on this channel is I read the news and give you my thoughts on the news. Yesterday, it was 2.2. I gave you my thoughts and feelings on what the 2.2, and people were like, well, it made money. It didn't make money, but now it did make money. Amazing. But we're going to go into more in depth. So going forward, when we hear, all of us, when we hear game sales, shipped, not shipped, right? Because shipped is different than sales. And also, when they tell you the revenue or the budget of the thing, that is just the budget of the game, not the marketing on top of that, right? So that's what we're going to do today. Good morning, Travis. Good morning, Ghost Fixer. Good morning, Soy. Or Cap, what's going on? Kylo, good morning, good morning. We also are going to go over, there's an article about Sony applies to patent a dynamic difficulty setting that's responded to the performance, okay, of 1 year after EA did the same thing with the controller settings. And then we're also going to talk about, Jeff Grubb talked about a Xbox next generation sooner than thought, and also the PlayStation 5 Pro. Okay, so we're going to talk about all those as well. What's going on, Paul? And later in the show, around 1 o'clock, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is supposed to have yet another deep dive video. So we're also going to cover that live as well. If you guys like what we do here, please make sure you hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. If you guys missed our episode yesterday, we interviewed the Kinger. We watched his videos. Let me bring this up for a second so you guys can see. We watched his videos last week. I asked him if he would come on the show. He said yes. We had an interview yesterday, and it was more of not really like a super like in-depth interview. It was more of, you know, shooting the shit with somebody. So if you guys like that type of stuff, I would love to do more of this where, oh, hold on a second. That's the wrong screen. Wrong screen. Play properties. This is what happens when you do live shows, huh? All right. So this is what we did an interview last night. When we were talking, he's like, yeah, I'll come on for like a half hour. We did a 2.5 hour show. So it's real laid back. We just talk about gaming, his gaming experiences, what's going on with his YouTube channel and whatnot. So if you guys missed that, go back, give it a listen. I would love to do more of these and interview. I don't care who it is. I'll be honest with you. I don't care if it's a YouTube content creator, if it's a dentist. I don't care. I like doing interviews with people and talking to them. So if you have anyone in mind that you would like me to interview, give me their info and I'll contact them. If they say yes, we'll talk to them. Thank you very much, Alien. Yeah, if anybody wants to come onto a podcast, I love to just get to know people. Obviously, it'd be nice if it was based on video game content creation or anything like that. But I will interview anybody. I would like to do that in a more, you know, I would like to do one a week if I could, but you know, we'll start off small. All right, so let's get started with Ratchet and Clank here, okay? And I am by no means, okay, going, oh, I was wrong yesterday. I mean, I was right by what the article was, but I have no problem going back and covering things I've already covered to update them and give you my thoughts on the new article, right? So Ratchet and Clank, okay, Ratchet and Clank. Let me lower the music just a little bit more. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart shipped $2.7 million. Now, I don't know if you guys can see, but I have a lot of different tabs open about this Ratchet and Clank. And this is not to beat a drum of Ratchet and Clank lost money or made money. This morning's talk is about Ratchet and Clank as the topic, but I want to go into more depth of the industry talking about shipped or sold and what they go into marketing and what they go into and compared to other games as well. When we think one game doesn't sell as well and one game does, okay? So I got a lot of different tabs open. I got a lot of different stuff. I don't do any kind of research as far as ahead of the show, write a script down or anything. My brain works in, let me look that up, let me look this up. I grab the information, I throw it in, and then I talk live with you guys in chat. So Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart shipped 2.7 million units. Yesterday's article from Gaming Bolt was 2.2. You can find all the links that we're going to talk about down below in the description. So it says, update. More recent data seems to have emerged from the leaks suggesting that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart had shipped over 2.7 million units as of February 2022, with sell-through numbers standing at over 2.3 million units and turned a profit. Okay, the original story follows. Okay, Insomniac Games enjoyed an incredible critical commercial success with Marvel Spider-Man games in recent years and thought 2021's Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart did enjoy similar critical acclaim. It seems that the action platformer has failed to make an equal impact with the commercial performance. That, as per recently leaked, internal Insomniac documents have emerged online following a ransom attack on studio, as per the leak. Now, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is confirmed to have sold 1.1 million units as of July of 2021. Now, according to my notes, okay, here's my notes. It's 4 lines, 5 lines. Okay, Ratchet came out June 11th of 2021. Okay, and by July of 2021, it said it sold 1.1 million units as of July of 2021 and sold over 2.2 million units worldwide. Though those sales have been unable to turn profit. Now, here's the thing that I want to kind of encapsulate into this talk here. Okay. The initial sales of the first month is 1.1 million when we know that's being sold at full price. Some of them bought it extra, maybe the $70, $80 version, whatever it was, right? So the $80 version will take in counts if it goes on sale for $40, that offsets it, right? You see what I'm saying? So you paid $80 over here, but someone paid $40 over here when it's on sale, or someone got it for free. It all starts to average out. Okay. So in fact, Rift Apart incurring a loss of $8 million as per the leak details. Now, with a total budget of $81 million, a total revenue of $73 million, and a 10% return on investment, thankfully, or minus 10% return on investment. Thankfully for the fans, franchise details emerged from Insomniac ransom leak have also revealed that the new Ratchet & Clank game is in development. So that was the story yesterday. Okay. So the update today is talking that it went from 2.2 to 2.7. Now, 2.2 million equals 154 million in sales. Okay. That's shipped, though. 2.2 was shipped yesterday. 2.7 is shipped today. I did the little math here. 2.2 million is $154 million, okay, of actual revenue, okay? 2.7 turns into 189 million. Now, $81 million budget. And one of the articles I have here, it says, there's a rule of thumb many successful indie developers follow. For every dollar that you spend on a game's development, make sure you spend another 25 cents to 50 cents on marketing. For example, a short puzzle game that was developed for 10 million or 10,000 budget should spend another 2,500 to 5,000 in marketing. So taking by that cost, okay, $81 million budget, if you take 25%, you're going to throw another 20 million on top of that, and that would make the budget of the game with marketing, rough estimates, would cost $101 million for the Rift Apart. Okay? And if it's sold at 2.2 million, if it cost them, 81 million to make, with the 25%, it's 101 million, and they made 154 million. Obviously, they made 53 million. Now, that doesn't mean it's total revenue. It just means that's what they made. And then after they pay all the other stuff, the percentages that go to the publisher and whatnot, then they have the revenue. Now, In the article yesterday, it said that they didn't make a profit. Now they did make a profit. Now that's the low ball figure. The high ball figure is $81 million budget with a 50% tools marketing, brings it to $121 million budget for what it is. Okay. Now, they only sold 1.1 million in the first month. After that, it slowed down, obviously, and it went on sale for the first time 3 months after it launched. Okay. It went down just $10 from that. Some people also commented that they got the game for free. Now, I don't know when they actually got the game. Okay, if it was 6 months, 10 months, 12 months, whatever. The total sales right now, okay, is 2.7 million. Let me go to the... Now, we look at this as 2.724 million, and it says 145 million in revenue, okay? If we look at that as a success, there's articles out there that say that it's the number one selling Rift in the series, but obviously we look at this and it's not. It's not even close to being the number one, Ratchet in the series, okay? Going all the way back to Ratchet & Clank, that sold 4 million copies. Ratchet & Clank Going Commando sold 3.1 million. Ratchet & Clank Up in Arsenal is 3.7 million. Ratchet & Clank Deadlock sold 2.9 million. Ratchet & Clank Size Matters on the PSP and PS2 sold 5.1 million. Ratchet & Clank Future Tools Destruction sold 2.5 million. And then Ratchet & Clank starts to go down from PSP to PlayStation 3, 1.1, 1.1, 1.8, 1.4, 1.1. Less than 1 million on the PlayStation 3 and the Vita. Less than 1 million sold on the PlayStation 3 in 2013. 7 million for the remake of Ratchet & Clank back in 2016 on the PlayStation 4, which is very successful, okay? And 2.7 million for Ratchet & Clank. Now, the budgets for each of those, I think I have an article for that as well. Let me look that up. Yes, here it is. Okay. Now, this is just a source. I don't know if this is official or not, but off of Reddit, okay, the Ratchet and Clank Reddit, okay, Ratchet and Clank, the very first game, cost $8 million. They kept $8 million, okay, up until Ratchet and Clank quarter 4, whatever this one is after Deadlock, dev budget was $2 million. Then it went back up to 14 and 15 million. Nexus was $8 million. Ratchet & Clank A40 was 14 million. Ratchet & Clank PlayStation 4, the remake, okay, was 14 million. And Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, okay, cost them a dev budget of 81 million. That's a huge jump from the past games, from what they were, right? And they sold much, much less than any other Ratchet & Clank game, okay, up to that point, okay? It says in 9 months, which we know 145 million. This is wrong. This is where it says the stars 2.7. That's total sales 2.7, not in 9 months. Okay. So, but look at the difference. Ratchet and Clank went from 8 million to 14 million to $81 million plus the marketing on top of that, right? So now we look at other games. Okay. Other games as Marvel's Avengers. I like playing Marvel's Avengers. I know it's a shit game, okay, but I like playing Marvel's Avengers, and it's another good example of what the cost of it was, right? This sold 3 million copies, okay? 3 million copies, Square Enix. Back in the day, it said Marvel's Avengers drives loss at Square Enix, as it suggests that the game could have cost 190 million, which I think it cost 100 million, but with the delays, with the Marvel tax, as I like to call it, or Disney tax, I think it cost them around 170 or 180 million. That's with marketing, okay? And then obviously, it made money back because it sold 3 million copies. Now, let me grab my trusty calculator here, okay? So 2.7 for Rift Apart, okay? 2.7 for Rift Apart times, we're just going to put the $70 because some people paid more, some people paid less. We're just going to put the $70, okay? That's $189 million, okay? That's a 2.7. Now, Marvel's Avengers sold 3 million. We know it sold a little bit more, but that's the number we know shipped, sold, whatever. We'll talk about that in a second, okay? Now, that sold, where's the actual, I have this, hold on. Okay, the month sales, Marvel's Avengers is a big success with 2.2 million in the month sales, okay? In the first month, they sold 2.2, okay? So 2.2 million, which was ironically the the same number as Ratchet and Clank, right? But that sold for $80. A lot of people bought it day one, and yes, there were 70. So we're still gonna put just the 70, okay? Even though it sold for more, okay? So we're gonna put the 2.2 million. 2.2 million times 70, and that's 154 million. Now, if we're gonna say that Ratchet and Clank was profitable, and they made their money, with their budget is 81 million. The budget for Marvel's Avengers with marketing, okay, was 181 million, and they made 154. But we do know they sold an additional 800,000, so they had 3 million copies. 3 million copies times 70, and they sold 210 million. So if we're gonna look at the Rift Apart, yesterday's conversation, when it sold 2.2, and everyone's like, well, it did make money, and then the article yesterday that it lost money based on the leaked documents. And now we're looking back at games of like Marvel's Avengers that sold 2.2 right away, but then sold 3 million, after the fact, and made a profit. They both made profit. They just didn't make all the money, right? So they're very successful or not successful, depending on what your budget is, right? Ratchet and Clank only cost 81 million just for the game without the marketing, and 100 million for the game for Marvel's Avengers without the marketing. So I'm just putting this in perspective as far as what they're talking about as what they spend on certain games and whatnot, right? So publishers also reveal how expensive games are to make. And in this article, gaming top publishers reveal how much money to spend developers. This article comes back from earlier this year. I believe we talked about this as well. A part of an investigation, Microsoft Activision merger, the video games market at large, regular of UK Competition Markets Authority, are publishing an incredible amount of interesting information regarding the world's largest entertainment, and the latest finding reveals astronomical high budgets of AAA games, while underlining the rationale behind the unpopular decisions to hike game prices, MSRP, from $69 to $69 across next-gen titles. Now, a publisher mentioned that the overall figures for development marketing costs for major brands in either recent installments are approximately $150 million for pre-launch development costs and approximately $50 million for launch marketing campaign cost, right? So they're doing it at the low ball figure of the 0.25. Actually, they're doing it like a 0.33. Another publisher redacted reported development costs of major AAA franchises ranging between more than 80 million to almost 350 million per title, and marketing costs reaching up to 310 million depending on the franchise, right? So then you can see those marketing, right? Much bigger marketing for certain games. We see similar ranges from the additional publisher, specifically in reports of total development and marketing costs between 110 million and almost 380 million for some of the latest major releases. So some games are spending more than most games are even budgeted for. Their marketing alone is anywhere between 110 million and 380 million, right? The fourth publisher submitted that the costs related to developing and regular releasing new titles can vary significantly depending on the game type of business model of particular studios. It's provided an example that for AAA game development budget value could range anywhere between 90 million and 180 million, where the marketing budget could range anywhere between 50 million and 150 million. And that goes along the lines of what we said before, where it's anywhere between 25% and 50%, okay? Or more, because if it costs 90 million to 180 million, but then your marketing is 150 million on top of the 180 million, right? That's 310, right? 320 million dollars in the. So the publisher also submitted that one of these major franchise development costs reached 660 million in marketing costs, peaked at almost 550 million. So finally, another publisher redacted estimate that the developer costs for seasonal updates for one of its first-party titles range from approximately 50 million to 65 million. The reason I bring this up is just to have more of a conversation of, we as the public don't know what exactly the budget is of a game unless it gets leaked or told to us. But if you look it up on the internet, on Google, lots of companies don't want to tell you how much they cost. The only way we get information like this is if it gets leaked documents or someone hacks into a system. I don't like it, but we report it and we talk about it because that's what we do, okay? So when we look at a game like Marvel's Avengers, you would assume that Marvel's Avengers marketing was much higher than a marketing campaign of like Rift Apart. Both games are very popular within their realm of thing. One, Ratchet and Clank, I think is the less successful one than Marvel's Avengers. One, because Marvel's Avengers is a first new IP for that series, where Ratchet and Clank was like the 10th or 12th game in the series. And yes, it sold, it made money according to this new update that we have, but it also didn't sell very well because, again, if we go look at this number, it was also the most expensive, okay, one by like 8 times, okay, where Ratchet and Clank before that was $14 million top, 15 million, okay, 15 million was the peak, and this one cost $81 million to make. So it's not in any way, shape, or form to look at it and go, oh, well, it's unsustainable and Ratchet and Clank was a failure. It made money, but it barely made money compared to what it cost. Okay, where Ratchet and Clank sold 5.77 million on the PlayStation 4. Now, here's another equation that we didn't put in. When Ratchet and Clank came out originally, okay, there was only 10 million PlayStations out there. Okay, when Ratchet and Clank launched during the COVID time, okay, there was only 10 million PlayStations out there, and 1 out of every 10, I believe, right? 1 out of every 10, yeah, 1 out of every 10 PlayStation owners bought it. And that, when you look at the number, again, because when articles are written, they try to hype up the game as much as possible. So roughly 1 out of 10 PlayStation 5 owners have the game. 10 million people owned it. 1.1 million people bought it, right? So that's phenomenal at that time. Okay, at that time. It's almost like my YouTube numbers. We talked about this a little bit last night with the Kingard, right? All of a sudden, if I post a video and it's 1 out of 10, if you guys don't know what that is, like when we post videos up, it's the popularity of the viewer count compared to other videos in that time frame. So within the first hour, it might be 1 out of 10. It might get like 1,000 views, and then it just falls off a cliff. And then 3 months from now, it picks back up and gets another thing. That's what happens with movies. That's what happens with video games. And this is why make a game, sell a game is so important when I talk about this, because when games come out, it's very important on how the game comes out. First impressions, because that is the major sales that they're going to get. Of course, there's games like Grand Theft Auto that sells 20 million copies a year because that's a phenom, right? That's the outlier of the group. But with Ratchet and Clank, it sold fantastic when it first came out, but then it kind of, if looking at this like a YouTube video, it kind of flatlined after that, okay? It went on sale 3 months afterwards at $10 discount. I don't know what it went at because I tried to do some information if it went on sale again and how people got it. I don't know. Maybe if you guys got it for free, at what point did you get it for free? How many months afterwards? So when someone says, well, simple math is 2.7 times 70, it made money. But we don't know. We know 1.1 million guaranteed sold at the $80, $70 versions of wherever it sold. But we don't know after that point on how expensive it was when people got it to get to that 2.7. Now, there's one more article I want to talk about with this. And this is talking about shipped or not shipped. Let me find this article real fast. Maybe I didn't even put this in the shipped or not shipped. But there's definitely a difference when someone says game shipped, right? Game shipped are the company itself doesn't know how many they're selling. They know how many they made and how many they shipped out. So when we see the number shipped, that's the publisher saying we shipped 2.7 million copies because that is what was buzzed, right? This is why pre-orders, and they say, oh, a percentage of the pre-orders, if this is how many people pre-ordered, maybe we'll have a 10% increase or whatever. So let's put this amount of games out there to sell. Once it hits the store, Best Buy, Target, Amazon, GameStop, they don't know that number anymore. They just know they shipped 2.7, but the sales might be like 2.4. They might be 2.2. They don't know the actual sales after that because they know that they sell those out, but they don't have a specific number. And that's why they use the word shipped and not, sell. Okay. So these are just a couple of information. I know I'm giving you a lot of information, but I hope you guys understand a little bit more on what the gaming industry is. It's not just the straight figure, right? Movie industry is not just a straight figure. When someone says, oh, it's $100 million budget, that's a $250 million budget, okay? Right? It's almost double, sometimes more, to market the film than it is to make the film, okay? So when a movie comes out and it costs them $200 million, $250 million, $300 million, they got to make $600 million before it makes profit, okay? Just to get back, and then they still have to give the percentage off to people, okay? And the percentage is different everywhere. Like China takes like 40%, and Germany might take 15%. And so when a ticket goes out there, when they get to that 600 million, they still got to give that percentage off. That's not taking away the percentage yet. Same thing goes with video games, right? They get the 30% cut. They get the whole thing. It's not just as simple as 70 million shipped or whatever, 2.7 shipped, and this is the money they made. It's not that. We do it on the internet because it's just simple to say, oh, well, they sold 5 million copies and times 70, and that's 3.5. You know, that's not how, that's basic math, sure, but there's a lot more that goes in behind it. So that's the information. I just wanted to give you that. Ratchet and Clank, we're changing from what yesterday they reported, and now we're just reading the news again today. And the new information is it went from 2.2 million to 2.7 shipped, not 2.7 sold. Okay, that's the big stipulation there. Shipped. Okay, doesn't mean they sold 2.7. Let me go back to chat. What you guys are saying. Good morning. Good morning. Hoping Ghost of Tsushima gets a PC port soon. Hope to see you again. Good morning. Okay. You're sure it will be Ghost of Tsushima unless they plan on a remaster. They'll probably do a remaster. I would think they would do a remaster. Rift Apart was also part of a console bundle. Also, another thing I didn't even bring up, Paul, right? They also, I give this example a lot. I used to work for Apple way back when U2, or not YouTube, U2, the band, had they didn't sell the album. They sold the album with an iPod, okay? And you bought the red iPod, and it's still today one of the most best-selling albums of all time because everyone bought the iPod. Now, if they bought the iPod because they bought the iPod for the album, or they bought the iPod because that was the only one we had in stock, that's a different story, right? But yeah, it was bundled with it. But games shipped isn't the same thing as games sold, right? Yes, Alien, it's not the same thing. So I think I answered that when I was talking. I'm scrolling back up here. Let's see. Only Horizon I'm interested in. Forza, okay. The team plus 30. The issue here is people need to get their numbers right or not report on it. The people that report the numbers, though, Travis, they're only reporting the numbers they have because the companies are not sharing the numbers, right? I'm going to call you BX because I don't know how to pronounce that name. It looks like you fell asleep and hit your username. So I'm just going to call you BX. It was a good game, but sad it didn't do well. But I think it did do well for them. But at the same time, it's a lot bigger budget than it was on any other Ratchet and Clank game. That's the problem. The development costs, Paul says, the development costs are eating the ROI. Those of you that don't know what ROI is, return on investment. They're coming off a hype of Spider-Man. To surprise, it didn't sell more. It didn't sell more. Let me see here. Yeah, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. What's going on, Horseman? Appreciate it. You really think we would get a new Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart lost money? Yes. We get... What are you talking about? Hell, that happens all the time. It happens all the time in TV shows and stuff. There's TV shows that are so low, but companies have money and they have to make a game or they have to make a show or they have to make a movie. That's like saying... Why would someone make a movie and then never release it? Well, they did that with lots of movies. They do that with lots of games. The only reason this is a story is because it's a leaked document. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a story at all. Right? You wouldn't know if it lost money. And it would make it, right? And even if it made money, do you think that the amount of money that they put in, 81 million, $81 million for the game that it cost to make that game, where the last Ratchet & Clank cost $14 million. It sold $5 million. Now, I don't know in 2016 what Ratchet & Clank cost, but I'm assuming it was like a $50, $60 game. Okay? And it sold double, almost triple the amount of what Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart sold at 7 times more the budget. Technically, the money they made from 2016 Ratchet & Clank funded, okay, that Ratchet & Clank, and then they blew it. That's a fail, right? That's just like Marvel's Endgame made a crap ton of money, but The Marvels that just came out lost them $350 million. Right? So as a company, Disney made money, but now they lost a shit ton of money off a movie that's in that same series. Is it possible the marketing budget was a bit higher as it was more of a launch title? Maybe. But that's not the budget, though, Horseman. The budget, just the budget for the game was $81 million. With the marketing, it's over $100 million. Look, in no way, shape, or form am I saying I didn't play Rift Apart. I'm not putting shade on the game if it was a bad game in any way, shape, or form. There are good games that don't make it. There are good shows that don't make it. Look at what's the show that everyone loved but nobody watched, but the people that watched it loved it. Andor on Disney Plus, right? Everybody that watches it, which I haven't watched yet, said best Star Wars, and yet it's the lowest watched show, lower than Boba Fett, that piece of shit show, and Obi-Wan. Okay, lower than those Star Wars. Okay. And it's supposed to be the best one, but yet the least amount of people watched it. And yet they made a season 2. You think they would make a season 2 if it did bad? Yes. Yes, I do. Because companies have money and they have to make it. And sometimes it's just a tax write-off. Sometimes they just hire people, make a game, keep busy, and they're like, we're not going to do it. And they just cancel the game that we never hear about unless someone leaks it. You never know. I worked on so many different feature films and television shows that never saw the light of day, but I still got my check. I still worked. I still got my check. That's a write-off for those companies. And looking at this numbers here, okay? Looking at these numbers here, okay? If you guys can't see this, right? What do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 Ratchet & Clank games. This is a hell of a series, okay? It sold over like 30 million copies, which is fantastic, okay? But if you look at the sales, okay, from $7 million from the remake of Ratchet & Clank Remake in 2016, that only cost them $14 million. They made 7. They sold 7 million copies. So what do you think is more successful? The one that cost $14 million and sold 7 million copies, or the one that cost $81 million and sold 2.7 million copies? Which one do you think is more successful? This one's still funding. Right? Because of this remake in 2016 and the money they made from here, they could probably make another Ratchet & Clank and not even bat an eye. So yes, to answer your question, do I think they would make another Ratchet & Clank if they lost money? Yes. Yes, they would. Because the franchise is 15 games in. Do you think they would release Halo without unfinished game? Do you think that Battlefield would release if it wasn't a finished game? Do you think Cyberpunk would release if it wasn't a finished game? The answer to all these things is yes. Yes, they would. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Freaks and Geeks, that was a good show. Freaks and Geeks was a good show. Nothing is as black and white as everyone makes it, right? Nothing is as black and white. It does good, that means another show's coming. There's shows that are fantastic, games that are fantastic that never, ever get a sequel. Why? Even though it sold well, it didn't hit the expectations of what the developer wanted. Right? In our eyes, we look at that and go, that's fantastic, right? The people that said Final Fantasy 16 sold 3.3 million, oh, so successful. Yet they come out and say it underperformed, right? What we think of a game and what the developer thinks of a game is two different things. Two different things. I'm still pissed I didn't get to finish My Name is Earl. That was a good show, too. I forgot about that. What was his name? Jason. What was his last name? Get his name. I don't want to look it up. I'm trying to use my brain. I know it's Jason, isn't it? I don't know why Jason Statham comes in my mind, but I know that's not him. That's the transporter. I'm trying to think of Jason. Orcs. Can't think of it. It'll come to me, or one of you guys will say it. I really like to know where the devs' cost have soared. Like using specific technology, like better mocap, the cost way more doing cinematic, etc. Oh, for sure. Eclipse says, yeah, his name is Jason. It's a weird last name. I can't remember his last name. Kylo says Jason L. Are you trying to give me a hint, Kylo, without giving it to me? Jason Long? Jason... No, that's not it. Jason... Oh, Alien came in. Jason Lee. Is that your guess, or is that it? I'm gonna have to look it up now. Yeah, that's it. Jason Lee. I like him. I liked him in My Name is Earl. Has he done anything since then? Oh, he did Alvin and the Chipmunks. I know manpower has gone way up in costs, unavoidable, but demand has pushed contract pay up to some people. I think where it comes, I think the technology is... I think mocap has always been expensive, right? And I don't know how video games do it, but I'm assuming a lot of them get the actors in and they're like a movie shoot, right? They'll bring the actor in and maybe they bring him in and they do all the mocap. I know some studios do, like Rockstar. So the people that are actors are actually they're acting. They're being mocap, like an Avatar, okay? But then there's other studios that can't afford that. So what they do is they have their technicians, or they bring in a much cheaper person to act out these scenes, and then they have the voice actor come in and then just voice over, right? So it all depends, I would assume, on what the budget is. Like Rockstar is making the characters. Rockstar, when they do Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption, they're shooting that like Avatar with James Cameron. But games like, I would assume, like Hi-Fi Rush, they're probably just getting Bob from accounting. Hey, put this on and start. Can you do some jump moves for us? You know what I mean? Like I don't think Epic is bringing in like actors to be the characters as they do emotes, right? They're probably bringing in much lower ball people that don't cost as much. And in one day, they're like, all right, I need you to do the floss. I need you to do all these other cutscenes and whatnot. And I think that's, but it's expensive. Expensive. Hence why I think a lot of studios, I mean, look at what Redfall did. There's no cutscenes in Redfall. There's still images. They probably shredded off so much cost from not animating that and also not bringing people in to do mocap for that. Oh, that's right. He was in Skate 3. We do have a video coming out later today on Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. They have a second dev viv, whatever you want to call it, deep dive, which I knew was coming. Yeah, I want to go back into this article here. This is from Mainleaf, talking about budgeting and stuff like that. It says, how much does it cost for marketing a video game? And almost everything in life depends on many factors directly affecting the marketing expense of video games. But the biggest one, and the scope of the games, for instance, is you're already a consolidated development company with massive following on the internet. Players will expect high-quality content from you, and everything included marketing campaign has reflected that. Therefore, the cost is vary a lot, which is especially true when comparing most anticipated AAA games against the indie games. Okay, it says take Grand Theft Auto 5 for example. We don't know how many millions were funneled into the marketing department, but many specialists estimate that Rockstar Games invested around $70 million to $110 million in the marketing alone. Okay, now, you see what I'm saying? Even the specialists don't even know how much it costs for these companies to put towards the marketing. They're estimating. The only reason they would know is if the company came out themselves and said it. Okay. And did it work? Absolutely. In fact, the results were much better than expected. Take-Two Games publisher managed to rack in $1 billion in sales in 3 days, following its release of far surpassing 2013 biggest blockbuster in box office. Other games with massive estimated marketing budgets include CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk, around $144 million. Rockstar Games Red Dead Redemption 2 estimated around $200 million to $300 million. And Bungie Halo 2 around $80 million. Okay? We're going to read this part. At the end, we mentioned before, it's also hard to give the accurate estimate as every game is different, thus having different needs and approaches when it comes to marketing. There's other factors that affect the cost of marketing a video game. Even though the game's scope is almost a significant factor in calculating the estimated cost marketing a video game, there are many more, some of which are listed below. Okay, so the marketing channel, the marketing channels are strategies, and choice of marketing channels and strategies can heavily impact the cost of the game's marketing campaign. Traditional game advertising methods like television commercials, full-fledged cinematics, and publicly stunt may be prohibitively expensive for smaller companies, whereas having persistence with social media and putting a site up will be much more affordable. Now, a target audience advertising a game to the masses will be more expensive than increase the company's consumer acquisitions cost. Right? And we also should be as low as possible. Thankfully, for the internet, has enabled marketing professionals to target a certain player profile, reaching a niche audience through social media. Now, where this comes into effect is that if you are a social media person, right? Again, I'm going to take YouTube as an example. If you watch content that talks about Call of Duty, you're going to be fed more Call of Duty videos. If you're watching a video of Minecraft, you're going to be fed more Minecraft videos. So when people pre-order games, put them on wish lists, do all this stuff, there's also behind the scene type of stuff that marketing companies pay for that information, and those companies give the information with the data. So the data is like, hey, like I can go to YouTube right now and talk about who's watching me from Europe and Australia and Canada and wherever in the world. I know, 70% of my people are from the United States. So if I was a bigger stream, a company from the US might be more interested in advertising for me because I give them the data of, well, I have 70% of my markets in this country, right? So that's a big part of it as well, okay? Now, if you start thinking 4D chess here, and Xbox is using Game Pass and PlayStation is using PlayStation Plus, they can see people playing similar games. Well, you played this open world survival game. Maybe you'll like these. Maybe you'll like these. So then when the next open world survival game comes out, they reach out to someone and go, hey, our player base is 60% people that love playing survival games on this, and this is what we're costing. And they're like, okay. And that information is super valuable. So the marketing is going to change dramatically depending on what's popular, not popular, who and what branch, what age group, right? All this stuff. It's also says timing and release date. It might be surprising, but timing of a game's release can heavily impact the marketing cost as well. As companies often advertise more products than nearing special dates, such as Valentine's Day, Christmas, game developers will likely have to pay more to stand out. So here's another thing that you can put in here, okay? When Ratchet & Clank came out, if you notice, it's in the summertime. Other times it's in February. It probably costs cheaper to advertise in February, but leading up to February, they're advertising in November and December during the holidays, right? So that budget might go up for certain games, and then when it comes out, they're trying to recoup that money. So again, when we look at a number and say ship games $2.7 million in the Ratchet & Clanks thing, and then the budget it costs $81 million, and then plus another 25% to 50% for the actual marketing, okay, it costs them over $100 million. And then we just assume that everything costs $70, rough math, but it goes on sale. It costs them more to advertise during this month and that month. How long did they advertise for? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 4 months? It all depends. It all depends on everything. It's not just as black and white as what everyone likes to make it be. It says competition, highly competitive game niches, such as Match 3 increment games, might require large investments in marketing to ensure the game stands out from its competitors. International marketing campaigns, if you are released your game in multiple regions in the world, it might be necessary to create different marketing campaigns for each region. This also includes localization for marketing materials, translation, advertising copy, the taking specific regions, preference, social norms and consideration. Their cost and add up quickly for smaller independent developers. Okay. So again, it's not just black and white. It's not, do you think they would make it? Yes, this number adds up and this makes the money, but there's a lot of other expenses. It's like if you build a house, you don't really know all the expenses. You're like, oh, you got to pay for this and pay for that and pay for the crane and pay, right? Things pop up that you didn't have in cost and you have to have that there. Horseman, what's going on, Mo? Good morning. Horseman says, I think blockbuster mentality as AAA is kind of problematic. GTA can get away with it because actually a blockbuster phenom in the gaming world. Whereas someone like Spider-Man, for example, unlike the movies, or even though the major IP, you have a lot less willing to buy a game at $70 versus watching something for $15. Right. Kato is got live action and celebrities in their trailers, right? Because they're making buku bucks. BX, right? They're making buku bucks. They're selling 30 million copies a year for like 10 years. They know they're going to make their money back. Plus, they got the microtransactions. What did they make? 1.2 billion or 1.8 billion in one quarter? Right? Let's go back to the article here where it says ways to market your video game as an indie developer. Marketing is a crucial part of video game success. It's finding the right combination of strategies can help indie game developers effectively. Okay, reach their target audience and generate buzz around the game. Indeed, there's no one-size-fits-all solution prompting that video games, but there are many effective tactics that indie developers can use to market their game. The following list outlines some of the most effective ones, but this does means exhaustive. Okay, social media platforms like Reddit, Instagram, Twitter, and recently TikTok are the rage of developers can heavily use them to build the following, promote their games, and they can also share development updates, sneak peeks, in-game universe information, engaging the follower to generate buzz and foster a community around the project. Costs can also vary widely by considering hiring a social media manager, which costs around $50,000 a year. and working with a talented marketing professional to create content engaging and delights your players. Now, big companies use this all the time. So do indie developers, right? Where some indie developers are just doing it themselves. This is where community managers come in, where they constantly interact with the, promote the game, interact with the clients and whatnot, or potential clients. Okay, branding identity, the website building. While paramount, having a cohesive, high-quality brand identifies the website can broaden your game's reach and also don't have the complex, for many games, outstanding landing page. Some auxiliary pages and links to other social medias are also needed. Against prices vary a lot, but expect to spend around $5,000 to $10,000 on both aspects. Okay. An influencer marketing can also reach out for the influencers, YouTubers, and even Twitch streamers and relevant audiences and ask them to review or promote your game. This is one of the most cost-effective ways to market a game, as it generates high engagement and showcases your project for more potential players. Prices depend highly on well-known internet personalities in question. Some will ask for a few $100, and others will require some thousands or millions. It all depends, right? Some people paid the game for like an hour, and they get paid $30,000, and they give it out to like 15 streamers, right? 30,000 times 15. That's expensive 1 hour of marketing, right? Trailers. Create good trailers. Captures audience attention and showcase the best your game has to offer in 2 minutes or less is a tough task, requiring great planning, storytelling, footage choice, animations, and sound design when done right. However, potential players will also come pouring in after every cranny and nook in the internet, generating hype for tons of social media buzz. Except a good trailer can set you back around $1,000 to $5,000. Now, this is why Keeley's Video Game Awards show and Summer Game Fest are so important, right? He's taking that money. Now think about that, right? And set you back $1,000 to $5,000, probably a lot more than that, to show the trailer, because he has 118 million people watching that. So like I said during the thing, I was like, his price can go up now because of that 118 million, right? Game festivals and conferences, many of them related to events, allow indie developers to showcase their games in the world, an often low price tag and an amazing opportunity to get your game in front of a large variety of audiences, generating some press coverage and meeting potential investors. Bigger events will have higher exhibit costs, and they also set you back more than $5,000 per event. Way more than that. Way more than that. I went to a board game event, okay, where I created a board game, went there for the convention, and it cost us almost around that, and that's a board game event. So you think if a indie developer is paying $5,000 for a booth, I don't know where they get their prices here. I worked in the convention space. It's a lot more than $5,000. That's $5,000 for some curtains and a hard-ass floor, and you're there for maybe you're shoved in the corner where nobody knows where you are. But if you want prime real estate and you want a comfy cushioned floor because you're going to be standing for the next 3 days in a convention, you're paying $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000. How much square footage you're taking, it all depends. Okay, that's not including if you bring your own extension cords and television sets, because you rent all that from the convention space as well. Free game demos. Uploading a free demo for your game in an itch.io. Steam can also platforms of a surefire way to players to try out games. If your game is still in development, it can also generate a lot of interest and full release, as it's happening with Outpath right now. I think this is a cost-saving thing that they can actually get away with really easy, because now they can just do it direct to consumer. I don't have to go anywhere or do anything. They can just do direct to consumer. Hey, you want early access? Pay $10, help us out, make the game. Some people like doing that, and that's a really good way to build up. Hell, look what Larian Studios did with Baldur's Gate 3 for 2 years. You paid like half the price, it was like $30. You get a couple of incentives or whatever, and you got to play the game, help it make it better, and then when it comes out, it's a really good game. So that's a big thing. Community building, creating community and interacting with players regularly will help to build the dedicated following and generate word-of-mouth marketing. This is especially true for constantly responding to feedback and involving players in development process. It's possible to start for free, but as your game grows, you might need to hire a dedicated community manager, which will set you back around $50,000 a year. Is that what they get paid? Who wants to hire me for their community manager? Okay, I'll do it for 50 grand. Okay, reaching out for reviewers. The game industry journalists can get your game reviewed or even featured in game news outlets and blogs, even though that any bit of exposure helps. Positive reviews will also likely generate buzz and attract attention to the game, which is all you want. It says, counting the cost of video game market. Understand the financial aspects of marketing in video game is crucial for any game developer, and the cost to market a game can vary significantly based on the type of game, your marketing efforts. In your unique business perspective, whether you're an indie developer or looking to make a small but impactful splash, or a large game company and a substantial budget, it's essential to gauge how much you're willing to spend on marketing. Indie game marketing budgets can range from modest foundational efforts or more extensive projects like email marketing campaigns or online video trailers, and large indie releases established many companies might invest significantly more in marketing. The cost of marketing can also feel like a gamble at times, especially when considering marketing influence on the game's success, right? Here it says the closing thoughts, and then I'll read your guys' inside chat. It says, marketing the video game is expensive and challenging, but an integral part of its development. So it's crucial that the game's success of a AAA games company often spend tens, if not hundreds of millions on marketing costs alone, as seen in Halo 2, GTA 5, Cyberpunk 2077. As you read this article, even indie developers can make a great use of marketing tools and disposal promote their game as build following over the internet, increasing the likelihood of creating a successful game. Though clever budgeting, remember 25% to 50% rule. You've chosen the most suitable marketing approach for your game. It's possible and reach the stars even with a small budget. However, if a developer must keep one thing in mind, success of a game depends not only on how effectively the market is promoted to the target audience, but also the quality of the game itself. This is where I come in and say, make a game, sell a game. That make a game part is make the best goddamn thing you can do, put it out, and then if it's a great game, it will sell. Okay? If you're a fantastic game idea, not fantastic, the company that closed, but would rather work in a marketing instead of having to deal with the nitty-gritty game development, like game design development, assets creation, and team management of your project is big enough, consider working with a team of seasoned experts in the industry. There you go. Okay. So I hope that gave a little bit more insight. So when we read articles moving forward about the game industry and games shipped or games sold, and you just do that blanket number, you know in your head that, oh, well, if it cost them $100 million for the game, it probably cost them 125, 150 million with marketing, maybe even 200 million, all depending on what type of game it is, right? Remedy says if marketing didn't support $70 games, this wouldn't be the standard. It has become people because it would demand for lower. Crazy how much they make. Akuta Papa says for AAA games, advertising can be up to half of the cost. Spend $500 million on the game's advertising, $250. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Man, for $50,000, I'll work at Bungie and yell at players at random stupid things. Yeah, I'll do a community manager job. I'm looking at you, Splash Damage. I'll be a community manager for Transformers. Let's do it. Let's do it. You call me up. All right. A lot of information this morning about the Ratchet and Clank, and it's not really about Ratchet and Clank. It's more about the industry, the sales, the marketing, and all that stuff. Right? Gaming, movies, television shows, making music, all of these things in the art realm are very, very big gambles, right? Now, obviously, lots of people make money, but there's also lots more people that don't make money. Lots of bombing of games that don't make it, don't make 1 cent. They lose crap tons of money, right? Then there's the games that get away with it. There's games that come out, and again, I'm not saying Ratchet and Clank is in this thing, right? Ratchet and Clank was a fantastic game, just didn't sell as many as the other Ratchet and Clanks, okay? But there's games out there that are shit, okay? They're shit. Whatever that game is in your head, right? It's different for everybody. Subjective. But there's games out there that fool enough people, okay, where it doesn't matter if the game's good, bad, or not. It makes all its money up front. And it doesn't matter if they fix it or not after the fact, because they hyped it. The marketing worked. Got you so hyped for that game that you bought the pre-order, you bought it day one, you bought a microtransaction, you bought all the stuff, and made that money for that game. I'll go talk to Sony, becoming a community manager, and that'll be like, don't support console wars. Old Bob Newhart, stop it. Stop it. Successful AAA games are miracles, and I don't mean that in a good way. Miracles in that they even happen when everything is working against them, right? There's movie. Look, in a perfect world, Horseman, in the movie industry, I'm assuming this is the same way in the video game industry. If you can make a movie, for instance, the new Godzilla movie, I think it costs $15 million to make. Let me look it up real fast. Right? I think the budget for Godzilla, is it -0 or -1, whatever it is? Yeah, 15 million. Okay, 15 million for the new Godzilla movie. And it's made worldwide in a very limited theaters, 2,000 theaters. Okay, it's made 64 million worldwide. That's a huge success. Okay, because even if you double the marketing, okay, it's $30 million budget. Okay, 15's the movie, 15's the advertisement and marketing, and it's made 64 million. Right, so it's made $34 million. Right, that is what people want to do. This is where the problem with the video game industry is happening right now. Movies are about 10 years, 12 years ahead of what the video game industry is going to go. Okay, and you're seeing it now, where movies are so out of control, where Marvel and Disney is spending $300 million on a film, and then it makes, here, let me show you. They stop reporting. The Marvels, okay, because it's such a flop. Okay. The Marvels cost them $350 million for the movie. Now, for marketing, it's about another 250 to 300 million. That's a $600 million to $650 million budget, okay, with marketing. When they show you the budget, that's not including marketing, okay? Worldwide made $204 million. This movie lost $500 million for the industry, for the studio. Okay, so let's just say Spider-Man, okay, which wasn't. Or actually, you know what? Let's do Guardians, because that's okay. Now Guardians made $845 million. Okay, so this year we had Guardians and we had the Marvels. Okay, now Guardians cost them around $250 million, which cost them with the marketing about $450 to $500 million. It made $345 million. Let's just give them $400 million, right? Guardians made $400 million. The Marvels just lost $450 to $500 million for them. It's a wash. This movie is very successful. That movie's a piece of shit. The studio this year lost money. Okay? Happens all the time. GTA 6 costs between $1 to $2 billion. The most expensive movie adjusted is about $500 million. That means GTA 6 costs 2 to 4 times the most expensive movie. And GTA 6 includes marketing, so it could be higher. Right. So I'm assuming the reports of the $2 billion, I don't think it's $2 billion for just the game. I think they're including, and I could be wrong, they could be including the marketing in that crevice, but we don't know that yet, right? So I'm assuming it costs about $1 billion. And then let's say 1.5 to 2 billion with marketing once it's all said and done. And that game will make all its money back. Okay? It'll make all its money back. It'll make the 1 billion within pre-orders, I think, in my opinion. I'll stick by it. We won't know for like 2 years, but I think it'll outsell pre-orders, day one, week one, month one. It'll break records. This movie is a piece of shit is the first thing I hear. Good morning. Welcome, Dolphin. If you guys like what I do, please make sure you hit that like button down below. I do these mornings Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock in the a.m. to about noon. We usually go to 1, but I like to say noon just in case I have to bail out and go do something. Christmas is this weekend, right? Christmas is on Sunday or is it on Monday? We know what day. It's on Monday, right? I will be out of town. We're leaving Friday. So I will not be on Lono's show this week. I'll be gone the weekend, and I'll probably come back, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday. So you probably won't see me all next week. I'm going to try to go live, but December's a real hard month. So I might be back. So there is a podcast this week. There is a podcast this week for GXG, and then I'm leaving the next day, and then we're probably off all of next week. So The Marvels is a Game Pass D Plus movie. Well, I appreciate that, Dolphin. I guarantee there's going to be to make at least $3 billion just on the $70 price tag, if that's the price tag. Oh, well, there's rumors that it's going to be even more expensive. They're asking for like $90 to $100. Z, do you want to do lunch? I'll meet you. I also will post online though where I am, just in case you're a murderer and you're coming to get me. But no, I'll do lunch if you want to meet. If you want to meet up and do lunch, joking. I will do lunch with you if you want to meet up. You want an autograph? You can then be the waiter. Oh, I like Mission Barbecue. Yeah, I'm down. We have a Mission Barbecue up here. Yeah, Z, if you want to meet, hit me up on in Discord. When I come down, we can meet up. We can even go to that pinball place if you want. All right, chat. I'm meeting Z. Never met him before. So if I don't come back after vacation, you know what happened. Need a bodyguard? Nah, I think I should be okay. All right, next story. Oh, actually, I have a question for you guys. Do you guys like that for the last couple weeks I was doing these morning shows and then doing all the breakouts of those shows? Now, I know some of them kick off. Some people like watching certain ones and some people don't like watching certain ones, which is fine. Do you like that I was doing that, or do you want me to just pick and choose, like for instance, the Skull and Bones, right? We discussed Skull and Bones, and then I broke that out as a Skull and Bones separate video. Would you like me to do more, or less, but still upload those? And I'm asking because you're the clients, right? You're the people watching my stuff, right? Should I be wasting my time breaking them all apart and then putting them up there? Or should I only break out the best story or whatever, and then put that up there? I guess is what I'm asking. Not like highlights, you know what I mean? It's literally that story. Like, for instance, this whole Ratchet and Clank one could be a separate one on its standalone. Are they getting views? Some of them get views, and some of them don't get views, right? Here, let me bring let me see what I got here. Yeah, like for instance, the Skull and Bones one that I did separate, it's doing good. It's doing good. The day before, the one I broke out, it's doing good. But so I released one, like just to put it in perspective, in November. In November and in October we started. I released one October 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. Like every day through October, through November. Okay, some of them hit. Some of them get the 200, 300 views, 1,000, 1,800, 2,000. Okay, and then some of them get like 35. Okay. Obviously, I'm not asking you guys, you know, yes, I don't know if I should do like a vote system, like what you guys think I should do as a breakout video. I don't know. I'm trying to make better content for you because a lot of people don't like coming to the live streams because they're long. They don't know what it is. They don't know who I am. And the way that other people get to know who I am or what I'm doing is based on those uploads, right? Like right now, there's so many people that don't even know I'm live because they don't come to the they don't click on that little live button, even though they're watching one of the videos, right? Like right now, 1,600 views are happening within the last 24 hours, right? Like the Grand Theft Auto trailer breakdown only got 62 views, right? You would think that would be a big one. Nothing, right? But then people watching me watch Project LLL impressions of Force Gaming gets 250 views, right? I was wondering if you could break down the VOD of your live streams into segments once the live portion is over. I've been doing that, Alien. Like, if you go back, I take every single story. I even open it up as, well, hey, guys, what's going on? Another video. On today's video, we're going... Like, I've been doing that. And then I was testing, because everything in YouTube is a test, right? I do it for like a month and see. And there's been more success than not, but there's also been... There was a week and a half of just videos that didn't even break 50. Give it a try. Maybe more independent breakout. We'll get more views. Maybe. Less popular exclusive. Heard it. Ratchet should have been multi-plat. So did it make money or not? Did Ratchet and Clank make money? From 2.2 to 2.7 shipped. Potentially, yes. Well, I think the breakouts are cool, especially if I'm busy at work and I can't leave the stream. I can check out a particular segment pretty quickly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So do you think 76 it's worth, even if the segment is not as popular, posting that up there is more beneficial for you guys, is basically, I guess, what I'm asking. Oh, you're saying put... I see what you're saying, Alien. You're saying put bookmarks in the video. I can do that, but here's the problem with that. And I'll straight up. It's easier for me to take the video afterwards, upload it into a video program for editing, and do breakout videos than it is for me to put the markers in and be like... Because I'm so random on what my topics are, and the way it works, it's weird. This is why I did a breakout video where I said, "Hey guys, welcome back to another video." And then at the end of the video, I was like, this is a, thanks for watching. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe type of thing. It's more of a pain in the ass to go back because then I have to watch my video again 3 hours worth and then find out where those markers go. Unless I can make a marker, and maybe I don't know how. Can I do that during a live stream? Can I make a marker? Add stream marker. Where does that go? If I can do that while I'm doing it live, then maybe that would be better. Yeah, shipped, not sold. The new Ratchet and Clank, costs 5.5 times more than any other Ratchet and Clank, and it's sold much less. Right? Ratchet and Clank sold 14 million and sold 5 million copies and 7 million copies, and this one cost 81 million and it sold 2.7. I say keep doing breakouts. Okay. The reason I'm asking is next week I'm not live, right? So I would take what we're talking about here and tomorrow and like the breakout, and then on Monday, and then upload those videos next week while I'm gone. No, Alien, and I want your suggestions. I want your suggestions because unlike corporate greedy companies that don't listen to people, unlike Disney, who makes movies based on people because they hate their consumers, you guys watch my stuff. So I want to make sure more people want to watch my stuff, not watch my stuff. I'm not doing the Disney mentality. I thought it sold 2.2 and shipped 2.7. They don't know the actual sales number. They always say shipped. And I think the number I saw was 2.4 of the 2.7. So it probably went up 0.2. Either way, it's still 5 times more expensive than any other Ratchet and Clank. That's before marketing. That's just the budget of the game. So I'm not really saying it made money or didn't make money, but I'm giving you the numbers of it cost $81 million to make, and the most expensive one before that was 14 or 15 mil. Here, I'll show you this, Mo. Here, I'll show you this. Okay. This is the dev budget. Right? And this doesn't include marketing here. The 81 million is not including the marketing. I don't know why they include marketing, because there's another article that says it cost them 81 million without marketing. So take it what you want. Okay. Even if it was marketing, what's the marketing cost? So it costs 71 and then it costs 81 mil because of the marketing? Whatever. It's still 71 mil. Okay. Ratchet and Clank, the most expensive game that was budgeted was Ratchet and Clank, whatever this one is. Do I have a Ratchet and Clank fandom here? Which was... Is it the collection one? They have a year on that one? It's CIT. CIT. Oh, Crack in Time. Okay. Which sold 1.8 million. Okay. And that cost them 15 million. So that probably lost them money. Okay. At that time. Okay. The remake, which was this one, unit sales was 5.7 and their budget was 14 mil. And this bottom one, they sold 2.7, but it cost them 81 mil. I think you can write down the timestamp. You know, that sounds really simple, but you see how random I am? I forget sometimes that what I'm even talking about, let alone stop and write down a time. It's not a bad idea, though, Dolphin. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Pen and paper. Go back to that really quick. Yeah, I don't understand. How much do these other games sell for? 20 bucks? 30 bucks? How much was Ratchet and Clank how much was Ratchet and Clank Remake in 2016? What did it sell for? $40. $40. So literally half the price. It says the trailer featured some jaw-dropping gameplay footage. Ratchet and Clank will be releasing in 2016 alongside the movie, according to U.S. PlayStation Store. The game released on June 30th, 2016, and will sell for $40. So it sold for $40. Okay. Okay, so let me do this real fast. 5.7 million times 40 is 230 million. Minus the 14 million. Right? And then we'll do another, what's half? Minus another 7 million. That's 209 million. How? And here's why I don't understand these numbers. Okay? Because mathematically, it says revenue here, it says 103 million. Okay? 103 million. At 40 bucks a pop. At 40 bucks a pop, right? 5.77 million. Okay? Times $40 is 230.8 million. Okay? 230.8 million. That's before I take out the 14 million. And we'll just say 21 million. Okay? Minus 21 million. Okay? Which equals 209 million. Okay? That's being very high end of marketing and whatnot on top of the 14 million. I did the 50% of the budget, not the 2.5. Okay? Yet it says the revenue only made 103 million. So they're saying that $106 million went somewhere else. Yet they're saying the number down below. Okay. Hold on. Let me write this down, right? $209.8 million. Okay. Now they're saying Rift Apart, okay, sold 2.72. So 2.72 million copies. And we'll give them, what, 70 bucks? I know there's higher versions, but we'll give them the $70. Which is 190 million. Okay? 190 million. Okay? Now, I'm going to minus the 81 million. And that gives them 109 million. Okay? Minus an additional high-end 40 million. Minus 40 million. That's 69.4 million. How in what world does the revenue for the last game that sold half of the copies of this, even though the other game was $40 and this was $70, and yet it has more revenue. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is $60. I thought it was $70. Was it $60? All right, well, let's go back then. I thought it was the first game that was $70 when PlayStation came out. For the PlayStation 5. Is that true? The math ain't mathin'. Well, it's general math, but you know what I'm... Mo, it doesn't make sense, right? I could have sworn it was $70. Yeah, it was a PlayStation 5 launch title. Correct, Rose. I was just doing the average because there's also people in that 2.7 number that didn't pay full price, and it was also part of a bundle, and there was also people that got it for free. So, being very generous, I'm giving the 2.7 at the $70. Right? Because obviously there's people that paid 70 or 80, and there's also people that paid 40, and there's also people that didn't pay because it came with the system. Yeah, but the $59.99 on PC didn't come out until 2023. That wasn't at launch. And 3 months after the game launched, it went on a $10 sale. And I couldn't find after that when it went on sale more. Like, how much is it right now? Is it full price right now? Can you still pay $70 for Ratchet and Clank? Or is it on discount like $40 because it's 3 years later? PlayStation Plus, free. There you go. Right? So, and looking at these articles, it says it shipped 1.1 million copies, sells 1.1 million copies in the first month. Right? In the first month of the game releasing, 1.1 million copies were sold, which was 1/10 of the PlayStation, because there was only 10 million PlayStations at the time, which is very impressive, by the way, because there's only 10 million PlayStations out there, and 1 out of every 10 people bought it. Well, when it says a loss yesterday, Mo, I'm assuming there's other costs that we don't know about, right? We're being very generalistic with the numbers based on just basic math, right? This costs what the game is. We're taking the average of what marketing, after what we read the articles about, what it would cost for marketing, okay? But there's also the percentage that they get to other people and what the deal is and the contracts. And so at the end of the day, we don't know we won't know ever on any game what the true sales are. We just know it's a lot of money or it didn't make money. Very generalistic. I mean, it didn't lose money because, according to the math, if we give them to what it is, it's 163 million minus. What was it? They made like 62 mil. 43, 62, something like that. According to basic math, based on the sales that they told us now, 2.7, which is 0.5. Now, it did say shipped, and shipped doesn't mean sold. So, based on the numbers of the 2.7, it made 62.2 in revenue. Now, we don't know, again, with the percentage, 30%, whatever. I don't know. For the information that we have, it made around 42 to 62 mil. Krebsy says, Rift Apart is currently on sale for $30, down from $70, but the part of the holiday discount. I don't have evidence to back this beyond what I would do, but I had Ratchet Remake and Rift Apart shared budget. When developing assets for Rift Apart, you make Remake and sell it for extra money. It only became profitable in the last like year or so. I mean, profit's profit, right? Profit's profit. I mean, I would like to know. I doubt they will tell this. Let's see. How many? Okay. This. That can't be right because they didn't sell that many. Ratchet & Clank series, third person. No, that's not it. Ratchet & Clank fan bundle. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart sold over 2.72 million. That's a day ago. Ratchet & Clank collection. Best-selling title overall. You have these statements like this, which I don't understand. That's just. Was the best-selling overall and the PlayStation charts in the U.S. during June of 2021 per NPD. Best start in series history measured by launch month, which is 1 million, but overall it sold 2.5 less. Did they sell a bundle? I can't find any information that they sold a bundle with Ratchet and Clank. Oh, yeah, they did. They did. Oh, but that's an older version. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart leaks, getting PlayStation 5 console bundle according to a leak image from French social media. That was back in June of 2021. Well, sure, Rose. I mean, Final Fantasy is a very niche community as well, right? Well, that's another point, Krebsy. You're saying that the 2.7 data was from February 2022. We don't know the sales right now, right? They haven't come out and said that it sold more. Just like the number for Game Pass from 2 years ago is 25 mil, right? Did they? I never saw that. Never saw what? That Final Fantasy was a niche market? Is that what you're saying? I mean, we looked it up months ago when we looked at all the Final Fantasy sales. I was surprised. I thought Final Fantasy was much bigger than it is. Here, this is the Final Fantasy numbers. Right? I was very surprised to look at a lot of these and be blown away, where I thought, right, you look at sales in US and worldwide. Well, this is worldwide, and this is overseas in Japan, right? Worldwide, though, right? 1.3, less than a million for the remaster in 2007, 167,000, 448,000. Final Fantasy 2, 800,000 worldwide. Final Fantasy 2, 330,000, 390,000 on PlayStation and on PC, whatever. PSP, 500,000. Right? And you look at all of these, and none of them are like standing out as like, oh my God, right? I thought, okay. Yeah, but you guys are saying huge. Huge. Ratchet and Clank's a PlayStation exclusive, and it sells more than Final Fantasy. So saying that Ratchet and Clank is a niched market, yet Final Fantasy says the exact same thing. Look at these sales. 2022. 250,000 on PlayStation 4. 1 million on PlayStation 5. Xbox One, 128,000. Steam, 190,000. That's Final Fantasy 7 series. Right? Or, I'm sorry, that's Final Fantasy, 7. Crisis Core. Then you go Final Fantasy series. Here's Final Fantasy 8. Japan 3.7, overseas 4.9, total worldwide 8.6 for 8. Then you go to 9. Then as we scroll down to the current title, where's the last one? What is it? Final Fantasy 16. Where is it? That's 10. That's 12. That's 13. That's 14. That's 15. Where the hell is the 16 sales? What, they don't have 16 sales on here? Oh, right here. Right? Final Fantasy 16. Terrible. Also, would shipped really matter since the video game is physical sales and diminishing according to EA sales? We're 20% physical and 80% digital during and after pandemic. Shipped. Shipped is shipped, right? If people bought it digitally or if they shipped it, let's do the math, right? If they shipped 2.7, I don't know. There's physical and there's digital. They're saying they put out 2.7. I think the sales number is 2.4. And I think there's like a 300, there's 300,000 that are just sitting out there that don't know if it's sold for full price or not. They can't keep track of that once it's out there. Also, how many people that bought a physical copy sold it and then someone else bought that copy? That didn't count. You know what I mean? Right? So they didn't buy a new one. So even if they went to GameStop and there was a brand new Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and someone's like, oh, I'm going to buy that brand new. And they're like, oh, no, you can buy the used copy. And they're like, oh, okay. And they buy the used copy. That one still sits on the shelf. So there's like hundreds of thousands of copies that are just sitting on the shelf across the country, across the world. And that goes for any game. Any game. I'm just using it as an example. we would have to know the specific number of how many people bought a PlayStation Digital over a PlayStation Physical, how many people bought the disc when they had the digital or the physical version where they can insert a disc compared to the ones that have a disc that bought it digitally. There's a bunch of numbers and discrepancies that we don't know. We'll never know, and we all have to speculate from that. Final Fantasy. Yeah, Final Fantasy in its entirety, okay, in its entirety of existence has sold 185 million units. 185 million units. And it's been around for 35, 40 years. Put that in perspective, Grand Theft Auto 5 sold 190 million units in 10 years. One game. GTA series from all the games sold 410 million units across all the Grand Theft Auto games. Ratchet and Clank series total has been a regular series for Sony since the early 2000s. It sold a total of 40 million as of 2022. Yeah, Ron, I actually, I'm glad you brought it up. I actually watched some footage, and I won't describe it to anybody, right? I watched some footage of Wolverine. I'm excited. I'm excited for Wolverine, okay? But I can see, I'm having one of my visions, okay? I can see once Wolverine comes out, and then you have the next Spider-Man come out or Venom come out, they look very similar, and maybe they're doing that on purpose because it takes place in the same universe or whatever, art style wise, or maybe because it's Insomniac and Insomniac is making Insomniac games, right? Like more Destiny looks like Destiny, you know what I mean? So Wolverine to me looks very interesting, very cool, okay? But I can see that by the time Wolverine comes out, and by the time we get those X-Men games, and by the time we get, I can see some people being burnt out because it almost feels too samey. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but do you know what I mean? Like Assassin's Creed games, less people buy them each year because they're too samey. Right? I'm not trying to talk shit about Wolverine. I'm trying to look in the future. If Insomniac keeps making these Marvel games and they all look similar, and they all basically have the same, you know what I mean? If those of you that saw it, I kind of understand what I'm saying, right? If you saw the footage of Wolverine, it looks very samey, and obviously it's a different character. It's Wolverine, not Spider-Man, okay? But I can see people kind of getting stale with that, just like they are with the movies. I can't afford one yet, L. Can't afford one yet. Wolverine gave me huge Tomb Raider vibes, especially when it was in that jungle area. I don't think it looked similar at all. It's just very early footage. You don't When I say similar, Rose, I'm talking about like the gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. You got your Spidey sense. You have whatever sense they showed, right? His sonar or whatever it was. The way it looked, the way he moved. I mean, obviously, it's made by Insomniac. I like how people keep saying games look bad based off of pre-alpha footage. The GTA 6 looked bad, then the trailer dropped, and set them up real quick. Yeah, I didn't say it looked bad. I said I'm excited for it. I don't know if it's copy paste, Rossi, but I think I think it's the same. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, 343 makes Halo now. Bungie made it before. It's more Halo. It looks like Halo, right? It's more Halo. And again, I don't know the back end of Insomniac, right? Maybe they are making a Marvel Cinematic Universe, but in their world of Insomniac, right? Maybe they're making a Marvel Insomniac universe. And if it is, it looks like it would be the same type of feeling of a game. Well, obviously, Rose, but look, you're breaking it down for too detailed of like specific. I'm not saying it's copy pasta. I'm saying what it looks like. Okay, it feels samey. Obviously, look, if I play a Daredevil game and then I play a Deadpool game and then I play a Black Panther game and then I play, right, I'm playing a superhero, and each superhero is different. Each superhero has a different story, and yes, they're different, but they're also coming from like different developers. So they would have a different feel of each of those games. When a company is making the same game, right? Spider-Man and Miles Morales, right? Spider-Man and Miles Morales, first game and second game, they're made by the same company, right? They're made by the same, they take place in the same universe. Okay, we know that Wolverine takes place in the same universe, so the art style that they're choosing and the direction that they're going look the same. Spider-Man 2 also feels the same, because it's not, and that's not a bad thing. It's because that's what they're making. They're making a Spider-Man game, and they're making the Spider-Man games feel like the other Spider-Man games, and they're adding to them. Well, Wolverine takes place with that, and that's going to be the first game based on the leaks. Is going to be the first of the X-Men game. What I'm saying is, as an overall thing, Insomniac is making Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, X-Men, Wolverine, X-Men 2, X-Men whatever. Okay? They're making a lot of games, and the graphic-wise looks the same as what Spider-Man is, and that makes sense because they're making the game, and they're the same people that made the game before, and they're in the same universe. Hence, Montreal Eidos made the last Batman Arkham, okay, which was the same as Rocksteady. They were feeding it in. They made a trilogy, but the last one wasn't made by the same studio. Of course, let them cook. They got 2 years before it even comes out. I'm not talking about what the graphics look like. I'm talking what it looked like, the feel of it. Like when the guy was fighting and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like Insomniac. Like if I didn't know Insomniac didn't make the game, I would look at it and go, oh, that looks very familiar. And then I would look it up and go, did Insomniac make that? That's not in any way, shape, or form saying it's bad in any way, shape, or form. All I said was it looks samey. Remember that Wolverine will be running on the PlayStation 5 Pro by the time it releases. Yeah, it'll probably be the game that pushes the PlayStation 5 Pro. Just like Ratchet & Clank was the game that was pushing PlayStation. The PlayStation 5. It looked more brutal to me. Well, of course. Wolverine doesn't hold back his punches like Spider-Man. Peter Parker literally holds his punches back because he's afraid he's going to hurt somebody. Wolverine doesn't care about that. He's got swords on his fists. He's going for the kill. Where is anyone in this chat, though, Water? Where is anyone saying in this chat that they're haters? In what did anyone say in this chat that made them seem like they're haters of Wolverine? Or are you talking in general on stream, like on social media? It's like Deadpool more? I mean, I'm happy that more Marvel games are coming out. Oh, I got you. I was like, nobody in this chat said anything of any way, shape, or form to sound like they're hating on the game. He's not hating, but if you do see similarities, you got blinders on. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that we look like what we're seeing, and by the time X-Men come out, people will be fatigued. I think there's a possibility, and that's what I was saying, Prosty. I think there's a possibility by the time X-Men comes out in 2030, right? Because think about this, and this is not just based off on Insomniac, right? We know Insomniac, based on the leaks, is making Venom and Wolverine and an X-Men and whatnot, and another Spider-Man, right? But then we also have the Captain America game, the Black Panther game, the Iron Man game, another Black Panther game. There's like 2 Black Panther games, right? There's Captain America, Black Panther. I think there's a Black Panther game. There's an Iron Man game. I think there's another game in the works, right? There's a lot of Marvel games coming out in the next 5 to 7 years, just across the industry. I think there's a major potential of having burnout like they did with the movies. And I don't think that's against Insomniac, if everyone thinks that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's... And I'm not one of them. I love my Marvel games. I love my comic book games. Okay? But I'm saying there's a major possibility that if these games come out and they don't sell very well because of the burnout, then everything that's been in the works, it just crumbles. They're like, we got to change fast. Oh, Rose, he's Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Hulk are my 3 top guys. Okay. I can't get the Wolverine piece, but like I love, right? I love Hulk. I love Spider-Man. I don't have the Wolverine. I can't get the Wolverine. It's always out of stock. Right? I love those characters. I want the games to succeed. I'm just saying there's a major possibility that we get superhero fatigue by 2030, just like people are superhero fatigued with movies and television shows. Yeah, but you don't represent the majority. You just represent one person. I'm going to buy it. You're going to buy it. Cool. But I think the majority of the population might be like, yeah, I'm good. You got to remember, comic books in general, like just comic books in general, is a very, like, we're not the majority in any way, shape, or form. it feels like there's millions and millions of people that care about these characters, like hundreds of millions of people that care about these characters, and there's not. There's like 30 mil, 50 mil, right? Well, of course it's speculation. I said at the very end, I said one of my predictions is that we might get superhero fatigue in the video game space. Or is it speculation? Not just the audience, but the devs also. I said that yesterday. If they're working on that same type of game. That said, people that have been buying the same COD year after year have been playing WoW for over 20 years. Sure, but that's... There's 120 million people that bought WoW and played WoW and have an account with WoW, but there's not 120 million people playing WoW every single day, right? That number is gone. And the diehard people that are playing that game is like, what is it, like 4 million? Right? I'm not saying that's a small number, but I'm just trying to show that that's the minority, not the majority. If they do an X-Men game and it's not co-op, I'll be very disappointed. I think it'll be co-op. I think going forward, I think there might be co-op within Wolverine. I think there'll be co-op within Spider-Man 3 or Venom even. Right? Maybe probably Spider-Man 3 will be co-op. I think for sure. But again, that's just a feeling. X-Men better be co-op. You don't think Wolverine's gonna have co-op? Is Wolverine gonna have? Are they gonna have their Mary Jane episodes where you're playing a non-superhero character? The opposite can be is the Insomniac Marvel Universe can be extremely successful. I mean, that's what they're banking on, right? You would hope, El. That's what they're banking on. Hence why they're making Insomniac work on 7 Marvel games out of the 10 in the next 15 years. The only thing that they're not making that's not Marvel is Ratchet and Clank. It says it's a possibility we get a game that feels like Spider-Man, but with Wolverine skin, it becomes slippery slope. I would hope it doesn't. I would hope it doesn't feel that way. But looking and again, it's not the visuals. It's the way he was moving and stuff. And I was just like, oh, this kind of feels samey. And then I was trying to justify it to myself going, well, if it is samey, it's because in their world, they're making a universe of X-Men and Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like they're combined. They did say it's in the same universe. So if it's in the same universe, art style wise, maybe that's why they're making it look the same. Look, I'm excited for Wolverine. I'm excited for Wolverine. I'm okay seeing leaked gameplay. I just don't want story. You know what I mean? Speaking of story, in about 1 hour, Suicide Squad is going to be showing another in-depth video starting at 1 o'clock, I believe. It said at 10 Pacific, so 11, 12, yeah, 1 o'clock. So we'll watch that. We'll talk about that a little bit afterwards, and then we'll be done for the morning. I want to make it clear that I'm never a person that's like doom and gloom, like this is it, world's over, game's gonna come out, it's gonna be exactly like a skin with with Wolverine instead of Spider-Man. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, this is coming from a person that said if you take Destiny exactly as is and put a Marvel skin on it, or Transformers skin, or Star Wars skin, I would play it. Trying to find the other article that I had here. All right, so let's go over here because we got to kill another hour. So let's talk about this. This is a small article. All right, so if you guys like what we do here, please make sure you hit that like button down below, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, make sure you become a member as little as $5. We do uploads, we do live streams, we do podcasts, we do gameplay, lots of different styles and topics that we do over here. This next article we're going to is forget the PlayStation 5 Pro. Xbox will reportedly skip straight to Xbox next generation sooner than thought. Xbox Series X2 could arrive just a couple of years, industry experts suggest. Who are these experts? There's been a lot of talk on the PlayStation 5 Pro mid-generation update coming next year, but Microsoft will reportedly go one better. It's said to be considering jumping straight to its next-generation machine, currently dubbed Xbox Next, to get ahead of this long-standing rival. It could release its Xbox Series X2 games machine as early as 2026, it is claimed. Now, journalist and game industry expert Jeff Grubb also recently said that the PlayStation 5 Pro leaks are mostly certainly genuine, and says the source that he acknowledges that Microsoft plans that the person is now saying that Xbox will have its own Xbox Next in 2026, whether that's the Pro or full up console. He also claims that the disc-free update for the Xbox Series X, which leaked in September, has been canceled in favor of a full refresh. So I was correct that they were making an Xbox Series discless one. Okay, but then it leaked in September, but I said this years ago, and now they're canceled it. It says here, in favor of a full refresh. Now, the leaker is saying that this stuff is canceled and said that they're going to do an Xbox Next faster than it would have done otherwise, said Grubb. Okay, it says that Microsoft would want to replace its current flagship console so soon without a mid-generation upgrade. Does come at somewhat of a surprise. However, considering the sales figure of the Xbox Series X is comparison with the PlayStation 5, it does make sense that it want to get ahead of Sony with the next generation. Now, the Xbox console have launched almost simultaneously with PlayStation for the last two generations and have been greatly outsold both times. The last time when Microsoft won a console war was when the 360 launched a whole year ahead of PlayStation 3. Now, it's widely thought that the PlayStation 6 won't appear until 2028 at the very least, so getting a rival machine out a year or two beforehand would certainly give Xbox an edge. That said, Xbox Phil Spencer has suggested in the past that the hardware might not be the biggest factor in the expansion of the gaming company. Its plans to get the Xbox games on every device on screen possible, mostly via cloud gaming, so it might be an Xbox Next is simply a streaming device as previously suggested. So here's my thoughts, right? I talked about how, and this was years ago, okay? I talked about how they're moving towards Game Pass, how they're not playing the same game as PlayStation anymore. Now, here we are 5 years later or 4 years later, and we all know this by leaked documents and things that they came out and said now that verified basically what my thought process was years ago. So I also said that they were going to make a cloud-based, right? And I said within the next... I said a couple months ago, earlier this year, I said that within the next 6 to 7, I said that they would make cloud gaming would be more prominent than it is now. And everyone kept arguing with me, which is fine, because I have my thoughts, you have yours. That's never going to happen. The infrastructure is not there. But you guys are thinking it's starting from day one here, and that's not what's happened. Cloud gaming has been around now for almost a decade. And so by the time my prediction comes through, it'll almost be 20 years that cloud gaming has been in the works. So is their next box going to be this Xbox Next, where it's a big box and it's going to outperform whatever the Xbox Series X is doing now? I don't think so. I think it's going to be more of a cloud-based Chrome, Stadia type of box where they put it out there. And with the market that they have, now buying Activision Blizzard, again, these are just my thoughts, that they can make all these other games exclusive for Game Pass and all these other things. And because it's the next generation, and they can bring that price down, right? Imagine if that price point is less than 150 or $100. Okay. Even if people, okay, don't, or like, yeah, it's stupid, I'm not going to play that. If it's on the cloud, like you're playing games right now on the cloud, like for instance, 2 days ago, I downloaded the Xbox app on my VR headset on the MetaQuest 2. I've been playing through the cloud. Okay, now obviously I'm in my house with a good internet connection, but I played Fortnite on the cloud, I played Battlefront 2 on the cloud, I played Sea of Thieves on the cloud, and I tried all these things, and they were phenomenal. They were phenomenal on these things. Now, if you're playing a multiplayer shooter and whatnot, it could get a little sluggish or whatnot. But I was playing multiplayer on the for the rocket racing on Fortnite through a headset in the cloud. Okay, and very, very little delay. Okay, but again, I have a higher speed internet, and I was very impressed with it. Now let's talk 3 years from now, right? 3 years from now, when they come out with the next edition, technology is going to be exponentially better than it is now. Okay, it's going to be more prominent now, and we look at it in a world and go, "There's no way in hell I would ever not buy a physical disc." And here we are, where 80% of us are bidding all digital. Steam wasn't a thing in the past. Steam is now one of the best-selling things of all around, where people buy digital games all the time. So who's to say that, well, I'm never going to not get a console. I always want a console, and then you buy one because it's $150 or $100. I don't know. I feel like this is a smart move, and if Xbox does this, because look what the Nintendo Switch did. Nintendo Switch doesn't go head-to-head bringing a brand new system out when PlayStation and Xbox does. Right? Xbox has been a bunch of idiots, or Microsoft has been a bunch of idiots by always releasing with PlayStation the same year they release, right? They're like, oh, that's competition, right? The Switch just releases a console when they want to. They're like, yeah, we're 3 years ahead. They did 2017. 2020 is when the PlayStation 5 and Xbox came out. Now the Switch is coming out, what, next year again, supposedly? Next year, maybe 2 years, right? By 2025, they're going to have another Switch before the next generation of whatever comes out for PlayStation and Xbox. So this would be a smart move if Xbox gets away, because they're not competing, right, for console sales. They're trying to get recurring revenue with the subscription model and whatnot. And how do you get more people to subscribe? Well, you take that cost completely away from the consumer. You don't put a $500 price tag in front of them. You want them to join Game Pass. You give them the lowest tier possible, right? And you get them in on the ground floor at a $150, $100 device in the cloud streaming service or whatever. If it's on a television set, if it's on your mobile phone, it's on your tablet, if it's on a whatever. They just want you into that ecosystem because they want to hit 100 million people by 2030 on Game Pass. And I think they might come pretty damn close to it. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. If you like this type of video, maybe you'll want to check out some of these other videos that I do on this channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Let's see. Krebsy says, press F for doubt. Why would Xbox move to the next generation when, 1, they lose money on consoles, 2, aren't pushing for power, and 3, their main goal is to release everywhere, dev cycle is getting longer in meaning? I answered that question, Krebsy. I don't think their next generation is a console. With the way the world is, next generation only starts at 28, and it also will be another cross-gen period well into 2030. Mobile cloud gaming has started, and it will be coming into focus with 6G networks. I said by earlier this year, so by 2030, 2031, I think cloud gaming will be very prominent. See, I like making these videos, and I like making these predictions or whatever, because I'm pretty good. And it's not just I'm pulling it out of my ass. I read a lot of stuff. I read a lot of the tech stuff, and I read where it's going, and I kind of put it all into, it's like just experience, knowledge. I don't know, but that's where I get most of the. If they put out a cloud box, they'll likely lose less or even be profitable. Yeah, because they don't care. Look what they're selling right now. They literally took $150 or $200 off the Xbox Series X. You can get it right now for $250. Is it $250? I think it's $250. Let me see. $350. Sorry, my bad. $350. Right? You can go to Walmart right now, pick up an Xbox Series X for $350. Right? And if you get Game Pass, you can literally get a year's worth of Game Pass and still be less than buying what an Xbox was or a PlayStation 5. So you can get a console and access to hundreds and hundreds of games for less than $450 or less than $500. Or you can pay $500 to get the console, maybe a bundle, so you pay $520, $540, and you get one game. And then if you get PlayStation Plus for a year on top of the $500 console, you're up to $600, right? So you're literally saving yourself $200, $300 for a year. 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, Water. The cloud box wouldn't be next gen. It would be the Xbox One, but a Fire Stick for a series generation. But that's the next. What? When you see next generation, you're thinking of technology. Their next gen might be cloud. That's technology. What matters if the cloud, if I'm playing on a cloud, Krebsy, whatever their servers are that they're powering, what they're streaming the game from and putting on is what's playing. Like if I want to rent a computer right now, right? If I have a computer that's running a 3060, which I have, but I want to play games at a higher rate, I can go rent a server, right? Pay money, which is like $30 a month, do that, and I can play on a 4080 Ti that's streaming to my computer from a server. That exists now. That's next gen. Right? So when we say next generation, the next generation of Xbox doesn't mean that it's going to be a bigger box with more power. It just means the next generation of Xbox, which could be cloud. Could be cloud. Eclipse says, I mean, you can play an NVIDIA GeForce now on a 4090. That's not next gen. Then, but you guys are looking at, I'm assuming the definition that Krebsy's using is the next gen. He's assuming that they're just upgrading. So it's a bigger hard drive, more powerful CPU. But that doesn't mean next gen. The article says next generation. It doesn't say anything about, right? Xbox next generation. Doesn't mean that it's a bigger box with a more powerful system. It's just the next generation. Mo says Xbox is going the way of Nintendo and doing their own thing in space. Your guys' definition of like next generation is because I have a 4090 and now I'm going to, let's say, a 5090 or 6090. That's next gen. No, the next generation of Xbox. If AI comes to consumer PC by 26, 27, the next consoles might have AI co-processing. That would also be next-gen worthy upgrade for the game potential. And you got to remember, AI is owned by Microsoft. They bought like ChatGPT and stuff, right? Well, that's a completely different conversation now, right? That's a completely different conversation, right? Games are standalone on top of what the system is, so. And good is subjective by anybody who's playing, right? If I was saying a more powerful box was the next gen, if I say the Xbox One X would be next gen, that's not what I'm saying. Using the words next gen is talking about Gen 10. Just, but where does the, but where does it say the next generation has to be more powerful, though? You're saying that the cloud box wouldn't be next gen. By whose standards? You may see Microsoft move from an AMD GPU to NVIDIA one because of AI processing. AMD does processing AI that well. Switch to Gen 10, 11, 12. Right. It's just the next generation of the console. All I said was it might be a cloud. It might be a Fire Stick. That's the next generation, which would be the next generation of Xbox, which hasn't been now. Sure, you can play on the cloud now with this generation, but if the next generation is just a small Chrome Stick or Google Stadia type device where you're streaming from a cloud, that's the next generation of Xbox. Yeah, Al, it's very subjective on what I think a good game is and what you think a good game is and what the majority of it, because it doesn't even matter about the majority, right? It doesn't even matter about the future is the cloud. It doesn't even matter no matter what game it is, right? Even Grand Theft Auto is still the minority of gamers. And it sold almost 200 million units, right? I think actually it surpassed. So it might be the majority. That's a bad example. But even the most popular games on the planet, even if they have 30 million people that are playing the game, that's still a minority of the player base in the bigger scheme of gamers, right? There's like 300 million, 340 million gamers, okay? And 30 million bought this game and enjoy this game. It's still the minority of the industry. So to say, like, I just want good games, I also just want good games. But my good game is different than your good game. What I enjoy is different than what you enjoy, what Krebsy enjoys, what Mo enjoys. But I agree with Krebsy here. Everything I'm hearing leaked is a new box, not a stick. You might get a stick, start normalizing cloud, and that push. Sure. I'm just saying their next gen could be more towards the cloud. They could have a box. What about the box that doesn't have a disk drive? And it's just the Xbox Series S, but more powerful, and it's the next gen, but it's a cloud-based system, right? It could be the little dongle, and it's just the cloud. I mean, people called the Switch the next gen, and it was way too much better than the Wii U and the specs, and it was just a better portable machine. I mean, we'll see what happens as far as what they're going to do. The leaks are saying focus on cloud, right? I don't know. Is there a leak that I haven't seen a leak that says it's focused on cloud? I've been saying, Reese, that they're going cloud, and this was beginning of the year. What time is it? 12:20. We got one other story we can talk about, and then basically we can start that one in just a little bit, so we can talk about this a little bit more. Mo enjoys more than most. Leaks were saying cloud native hybrid. Well, I guess I would be right again then, huh? From the beginning of the year when I said it? From last year when I said it? Year before when I said it? Also nobility, Jesus. Notable. NV wouldn't want shift any of their fab / chips allocations to something less profitable. I see the cloud focus being most 2028, 2030. 6th generation networks of phones and mobile is slated for the commercial release in 2030, which would support an AI and cloud infrastructure. Well, if they're next, according to the thing that we just saw, right? By 2026 is when they potentially could get this next console out, or 2025, right? So if it's a hybrid by then, it's to get people in, just like Game Pass came out in 2019 or 2018, get people conditioned to subscribing to games instead of buying games, right? So they put the next console out in, let's say, 2026, and by 2030, they're conditioning people to be like, oh, this is how you're playing. This is how we're sustaining. And how do they make the network better? They have to get people on it to play it, right? I've said this years ago. I said they're not playing the same game anymore. Sony's they can have this console market. Microsoft is going cloud. Microsoft is going digital. I said, and they want to make their own market over here. They're giving up the small minority to get the majority. The percentage of the majority that they can get from this is bigger than the minority that they had. That's why you can play Game Pass. Literally, I couldn't fathom just 2 years ago that I could be playing a gaming system that straps to my head with no wires and play anywhere I want, right? And yet here I am. I go on vacation. I take this, right? I take this and this. That's it. I don't take a console. I don't gotta pack a suitcase. I don't gotta put all these wires and stuff in it. Right? If you told me 2 years ago, oh yeah, 30, you're gonna be playing in virtual reality, you're gonna be playing cloud gaming in your sit on your couch with no wires, no nothing. You're like, what? Out of here, right? Actually, 2 years ago, I did predict that, but you know what I'm saying, right? I didn't say the VR, but I did said basically just right. I'm okay with it. I also think the current generation will last a lot longer than the past generations for multiple reasons. I don't know, man. Xbox 360 lasted for like 12 years. Didn't Xbox 360 last for 12 years? And Xbox One's lasted for 7? Yeah. So Xbox 360 came out in 2005. And beginning on July 29, 2024, we will be no longer supporting the Xbox 360 store. 19 years. 19 years. So you're telling me you think this generation is going to last longer than 20? Well, you think it's going to last 20 years, this console? No way. I don't see Xbox or PlayStation switching to the chips. No, what did you say? I also think the current generation will last a lot longer than the past generations for multiple reasons. What did you say? After that statement, what did you say? From the sentence, I also think current generations will last longer than past generations for multiple reasons. And then I read that Xbox 360 has been around for 19 years. The Florida air will destroy my plastic on my Series X by 2026. What do you have it outside? What's wrong with you? Are you playing on your patio? This song reminds me of like Home Alone for some reason. Yeah, Water, I tested out my headset last night. I uploaded the app and I started playing. I played Fortnite, I played Sea of Thieves, I played Battlefront 2 because my son wants to play Battlefront 2 co-op. I played Sea of Thieves because he wants to play Safer Seas. And I'll tell you, man, it's fantastic. I saw that Baldur's Gate 3 is the best-selling game on Xbox. That's awesome for them. Glad to hear it. I was actually thinking of picking it up on the Xbox so I could play it while I'm gone for the holidays. I'm seeing that 360 was replaced in 8 years. No, they're still literally supporting it. You could literally still turn your 360 on right now, Reese, and buy things from the store. Meaning that the system is still, right? The next gen came out in 2013. They still support, you still can play the 360. Like you could still go to the store and buy stuff for the 360, but they're closing that down next July. The original Xbox lasted 4 years. Then it went to 8 years before the next one. Then it was 7 years for the next one. And now we're 3 years into this one. And if the next generation comes out, then that would only be 4 years, 5 years. $50 million unit milestone for PlayStation 5. Good. I'll love to see the number when it's 100 million for PlayStation 5s and 5 million of them only play COD. Only play COD. What was that stat they showed for PlayStation? What was that stat? 48% of the people only play like one game. That's insane. Like just off that alone, think about this, right? if you are a PlayStation person and you're only playing COD and you're playing FIFA, it makes no sense to get a PlayStation because you would literally save hundreds and hundreds of dollars, because if you get an Xbox or a Samsung TV, EA Play is on there and you can play FIFA, and Call of Duty is now owned by Microsoft. It's the cool mindset. Okay. PlayStation 5 is the Apple of consoles. You know? That is the perfect analogy. No, that is the perfect analogy. Yes. Yes, PlayStation 5 is the Apple, right? People don't know why they need it, but they need it. Right? That's exactly right. No, I haven't heard that PlayStation. I've heard Apple is Apple. I never thought about Apple being the console. I guess Apple in talks was supposed to buy PlayStation, so they would be the Apple. That matches. I have a PlayStation 5. It shows that I have money and I'm not broke. Right. Right. It's putting the $5,000 rims on your $2,400 car. Right? People go bankrupt so they could look good. I just play games so I can have fun. It's not a status thing for me. No, Rose, but what he's saying is it's like a status symbol, right? And a lot of people come in all the time and they're like, well, it's because you're broke, and that's why you don't have a PlayStation 5. Yeah. I mean, you saying because of the exclusives, but I gotta look that up. What was that? There was a stat that 48% of PlayStation owners don't play the first party titles. Let me see. Or don't play games. Play say Kotaku. This is articles from 2021. Yeah, so obviously now Destiny 2 is owned by Sony. But here it says the majority of players on PlayStation, it doesn't say a percentage, but the top games on PlayStation are not even PlayStation games, right? Fortnite, Call of Duty, and it goes for both, but Fortnite, Call of Duty, FIFA, NBA, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Destiny 2, MLB The Show is the first one, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th on the list. Then Marvel Spider-Man, then Demon Souls, then NBA 2K. Fortnite's free, right? So that's... But then Call of Duty is number 1 after that, and then FIFA. Trying to see here. What is this report? This is Reddit. In a CMA, this is from 10 months ago. In a CMA survey, PlayStation players, and again, this is from Reddit. Just looked it up. So I don't know validation of this or not. But Christopher Drink says in CMA survey, PlayStation players, how many did we survey? Players, 88% said they choose Sony console because of the availability of one or more games of that 88%. 73% say it was Call of Duty that influenced their decision. Meanwhile, 69% said they picked PlayStation for Sony exclusives. 45 cited GTA 5. That's crazy. 73% said it was Call of Duty. And 45% because of Grand Theft Auto. I think a lot of Apple users are annoying because of its Sony's heading there. It goes for both. The biggest casual gamers on the market. Apple also has a subservice game model, and Sony does not want to go Apple's route. No, they don't want to go that route. They might have to go that route in a couple years. I'd like to see the same thing for Xbox, but exclude the Game Pass. Let's see what percentage of... Play first party. Let's see if they have a... They don't have any information on that. They don't... Let's see. Sales and friends. Worldwide Xbox for 5 and 20 revenue 16. Microsoft announced the launch. No. Electric Honors Live. No. No, that's different stats. This one says 150 million monthly active users, but it doesn't say for first party. It doesn't say... Let's see if I can... This is all it says. But I don't know what this encompasses, right? It says Xbox Game Studios' first-party game now has over 150 million monthly active users across all platforms as of Matt Booty. That's, I'm assuming 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X has over 150 million monthly active users for first-party games. But I don't know what that is. Right? I don't know what that is. In addition, the company has released 10 new games in the last 5 years and have accumulated over 10 million players. Right, that says nothing, but it says 150 million monthly active users play first-party games. I mean, they don't tell us anything. Let's see if we have another PlayStation. How many active users? PlayStation players first party active users. PlayStation, 107 million monthly active users. There you go. Now, I don't know if this is for first party. Number of active users on PlayStation Network. That's not for first party, though. That's just active users. Let's see what this one is. Sony sold more than 563.2 million PlayStation consoles. That's from quarter 2 of 2022 to December of 1994. Okay. Did you know 41% of PlayStation players are females? Find out more down below. Let's see if we get some stats here for something. Let's see. How many people play PlayStation? 2022, there's 102.5 million people, average monthly active users. I mean, we could take the 102 million, right? $102 million. And divide it. What percentage was for Call of Duty? %73%. Okay, 73% of 102 million is 7.4 million. So 7.4 million of the 102 of PlayStation active monthly users, 7.4 million is just Call of Duty based on that number. Okay. So 7.4 million are just Call of Duty. Okay. Oops. Then 69% of 102 is 7 million. 7.0. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 70 million. I'm sorry. Let me go back because I think I said that number wrong before. 73%. 73%. I'm sorry. I said that number wrong before. It's 74. 74.46 of 102 million. Is that right? 73%. 73%. Oh, that's got it. Yeah, I guess that's about right. 74 million are playing Call of Duty of 102 active members. 102 million active members. Doesn't make sense. How many players does Call of Duty have a year? Doesn't make sense. Oh no, that's about right. Yeah, never mind. That's about right. They have average players for the last 30 days 101 million. Peak players is 161 million. That's about right. Yeah, they said that it would cover. Hold on, I gotta find it again. It said it would cover not story. Where is it? No, it got cut off on the thing I took. Oh, the showcase of a supporting cast that will also be in the game. It will feature new gameplay as well as showcase of the supporting cast. So, we'll see some gameplay. Hopefully, new scenes or whatever. Covers combat as well. Cool. I'm trying to find Krebsy to see what they said about Xbox. What was that? Oh, with my phone next to. Yeah, everything that comes up is only 150 million. It doesn't say a percentage of. Xbox first-party games find success in one of the most important KPI of modern gaming. Let's see. In the last 5 years, our teams across Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda have shipped 10 games with over 10 million players each. Life date from new IPs, from Sea of Thieves, a grounded franchise like Minecraft and Elder Scrolls. Horizon 4 has got 21 million players. I don't know if that's active. Here's a quick snapshot from the most played first-party Xbox games released 5 years. 21, 30, 15, 10, 15, and 30 mil. That doesn't really say anything, though, because we don't know. I mean, the same people that are playing Horizon 4 could be the same people playing Sea of Thieves, which is the same people playing Fallout 76. In my opinion, Casual Bob is only buying 1 or 2 games a year across every platform. I think the average Bob. The average gamer, I believe, Krebsy buys 4 to 6 games. If I'm not mistaken now. This is from average monthly video game expenditure per gamer in the United States from 2019 to 2020. No, that's not going to tell me. That's okay. Here you go. Here's something we can kind of take something from. Okay. So this article comes from November 28th, 2023. Okay. Says what benefits spending game? No, that's not it. Okay. A recent survey on home connections found an average gamer spends about $76 a month on their hobby, or $912 a year. The average life expectancy is 78.79 years, and assuming the gamers start gaming at the age of 12, and that amounts to $60,912 over lifetime. Millennials as a cohort spend even more than average gamer overall, $86 per month at $1,032 a year. If the average millennial started gaming when they were 12 and lives to 78.79 years old, they've spent $68,000. Their passion for gaming, Gen X spends a pretty penny to $62 a month to $744 a year. Okay, $49,000 over a lifetime, assuming that they also started gaming at 12. Surprisingly, baby boomers whose childhoods were necessarily filled with games consoles spent at least the least at $52 a month. So okay, let's take that number of, let's say, the $744 a year. Okay. I mean, obviously, we're just taking a base number, $744 divided by $70 now. It's 10 games. 10 games a year at $70. I mean, this is an article from 2023, and it's telling you the average person spends $744 a year. That's Gen Xers. I'm a Gen Xer, right? 10 games. Spending $744 a year, whatever that is. Sure. That equates to 10 games or maybe 4 games and then a bunch of microtransactions. I mean, I only have what I can deal with here. You know, this is a source from less than a month ago. I bought this year. I bought Baldur's Gate, Hogwarts Legacy. And again, I'm not the average gamer. I'm above average, but I bought Starship Troopers. Let me start. Starship Troopers, Hogwarts Legacy, Jedi Survivor, Diablo, BattleBit Remaster. What else did I bought Hogwarts, Jedi Survivor, Diablo 4, Starship Troopers, RoboCop, Baldur's Gate 3, Lords of the Ring, Return of Moria, BattleBit Remasters, and there's more, but I forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm at 8. I'm pretty sure I'm at 10. A couple other things I bought. There's a couple ones I got. I probably can add another 2. I'd have to look at my list. And Game Pass saved me a fortune. Game Pass saved me a fortune because I played a lot of Game Pass games. This upcoming year, games I'm interested in, I'm gonna probably buy Star Wars, right? Star Wars, Outlaws when that comes out, Suicide Squad, And I can't think of another one that's full price right now. I would have bought Spider-Man 2 if I had a PlayStation, for sure. Eclipse, I would have bought that, so that would have been another one. I didn't buy it, but I would have if I had a PlayStation. And I probably would have bought Horizon, right? Oh, I bought there's a Nintendo game I bought. I can't think of. The hell did I buy? Oh, I forgot about Nintendo. Mo says I don't plan on buying anything next year, but we'll see. I think Suicide Squad's going to come to Game Pass just because of the leak. Did you hear that it got delayed to Epic? Epic is I think it's, or is it Microsoft? I forget. Suicide Squad's delayed 1 month or 3 weeks, whatever it is, on PC. I was going to talk about this Sony patent. Sony applies a patent to dynamic difficult settings, but I think I could talk about that later. So, spending wise, I'm probably above average because the average gamer's spending though. So, if you add up the games that you bought, Rose, does it equal or less than $744 a year? Because the average gamer is spending $744 a year as a Gen Xer, right? That's a Gen Xer. A millennial is spending $86 per month and $1,000 a year. Okay, so a Gen Xer is spending $300 less. Still probably less than 700. So there you go. I mean, I what I name 8 games. I'm at 560, so I'm below, and I play a lot of games. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there buying games left and right, and they're on the backlogs. Gotta step up your game, dude. You're not even average. She said, not even average. I'm below average. Spending wise. Spending wise. That's true. I don't buy microtransactions. All right, 2 minutes away. I don't know. Let's see if we can get it on the YouTube here. On the YouTube. It's gonna be on Warner Brothers Games. It's probably on Warner Brothers Games channel. Story and gameplay is the last one a month ago. So it'll probably appear here. For God's sakes. I saw this And I was like, what, did he die? Like, who does this? Don't put someone in black and white with a year next to it. What's wrong with people? Like, seriously. What's wrong with you? All right, it's 1 o'clock. Let's see. Nothing yet. It's just his husk. Just the husk of him. Bobby Kotick is leaving. December 29th. It's up. Here you go. All right. YouTube. Let's 18 minutes long.
All the fun is right here.
Hello, I'm Axel Ridby, game director here at Rocksteady Studios.
I'm Darius Sadigian, studio director at Rocksteady Studios.
We're so excited to welcome you all to episode 2 of our ongoing series, Suicide Squad.
Well, I just want to make it clear. Everyone was running with, because they were leaking stuff, that they weren't going to do this. And I said, no, they're coming out this week. Okay, they're coming out this week.
Insider. In our last episode,
They're in full swing of advertising for this. This is where that talk we did earlier, their marketing is being paid off right now.
we gave you a look at our combat system that combines story, powerful traversal abilities, iconic melee attacks, and explosive gunplay to offer something truly unique.
Hello, beautiful!
We wanted to challenge ourselves. We wanted to expand and really push ourselves in terms of making something new and fresh.
Light him up!
When first introduced, the free-flow combat of Batman Arkham Asylum broke new ground and set a standard that is still popular today. In that spirit, the Rocksteady team decided to delve into new mechanics.
If you're playing solo, you have the power to...
I kind of like what they just said there, right? We as gamers want comfort, right? Just as humans, we want comfort. We liked what they did with the fighting style, and they're like, we wanted to do new. We wanted to go with guns, and everyone's like, they're pushing against it. They're pushing against it.
Make combat in our game unique to you while making your way through our story campaign. If you decide to play co-op with friends, you can each become an expert with your playstyle and customize builds, creating a powerful squad unlike any other.
Each person can offer a different benefit to the play experience.
We're super excited to see those sort of team play, synergistic effects happen.
You want a high five?
Up high.
In the Suicide Squad, the world, the narrative, all our features evolve through the lens of DC lore.
Fans for the DC Universe are going to be really excited for this. Not only are we bringing characters back that we've used in the Arkham series, but we're introducing new ones.
You can call me Colonel Rick Flag.
We want players to feel like they explored the DC Universe with us, not just through the story, but also through the mechanics.
Ah, no lasso? You gotta be kidding me.
In this episode, we'll meet some of the iconic DC characters who will be helping our anti-heroes to take on their impossible mission.
Awesome.
Through conversations with our team, our voice cast, and our playtesters, along with extended gameplay, we'll give you a preview of some of the amazing new possibilities we're excited about with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
I think this is perfect what they did with Warner Brothers did with Hogwarts last year, leading up to the release. And I think this is a good more games, more companies should do what Warner Brothers is doing with Hogwarts and now with this game to kind of build up the hype.
Wait, which superheroes did you say you were again?
This is Suicide Squad Insider, Episode 2.
The RPG systems are the connective tissue inside of the game.
Things like weapon customization.
Sexy looking gun. A sexy looking gun.
Talent customization. Things that really let players get into how they want their character to play.
Now, let's begin.
We built this game with near limitless strategic and personal options.
Players craft their own character within a character. Everyone can pick not only their favorite, but really make a character that's their own.
There's really high skill ceiling mechanics in this game where as you learn to traverse, as you learn to combine your character's abilities more and more, you become better, your character becomes stronger, and in the story of the game, you're taking on stronger and stronger threats.
We have this perspective of always tying back to the narrative and always giving context around the mechanics. With the DC world out there,
I like that. I like how they're linking it to the context of it.
it just gave us unlimited potential.
With the Arkham games, you could modify some elements of Batman himself. But we knew early on, going with an action shooter was an opportunity to go down a new path and try out new mechanics with a new type of game.
Someone's been busy. How'd you have time to make all this?
In our last episode, we showed the Suicide Squad recruiting the Penguin for Argus.
Okay, Waller. We bagged Penguin.
He goes back to the Hall of Justice to start helping the squad out.
I'm taking authority.
Since we last showed you the Justice League's HQ, it's had a makeover from Amanda Waller and her team, and it's now the forward operating base for Argus's fight against Brainiac.
I can talk about this now because they're showing it. I thought this was cool. This reminds me of the Division, right? The Division 2 where it started off one way and it's evolving over time. I wonder if it's going to happen more throughout the game.
So when considering gameplay, we knew we needed an arms dealer.
You need a good gun runner.
For us, it's been great to bring Penguin back from the Arkham days. We love working with this character.
What he gives you is lots of options for upgrading individual weapons, crafting.
It feels like you're actually interacting with Penguin when you're crafting these items, and that's really where Penguin as a character comes to life in the game.
You get to build them up, creating some really unique combinations, and you can play the game in a way that's unique to you. We have weapons based on different manufacturers.
Star Labs, we have Amertech, we have LexCorp, we have DCPD, and they all come with different flavors.
Lex is
Very Borderland-esque type of gun system where each gun has its own brand and whatnot. Same with Destiny, same with, Division.
very scientific man, right? The guns are very scientific in nature. They have very specific recoil patterns and spread patterns, almost like they are calculated. Then we have Amertech, which is more improvised weaponry, really fast fire rates, high ammo capacity, but it kicks like a donkey.
And once you've unlocked those manufacturers, you can go to Penguin and ask him to sort of craft specific weapons in those manufacturers.
Different guns will play with different styles. Maybe you've got a Deadshot focused on critical hits, on headshots. That might mean that you want to favor a legendary gun which works with that playstyle.
Nice, nice, nice.
Penguin is only one member of what we call the support squad.
Toot toot, scumbags!
They're various supervillains that the squad have begged, stolen, or borrowed.
Real quick, I want to say, if you guys don't like me pausing, I'm sorry, but that's what we do here. What I don't want to see is the different brands, and if LexCorp, let's say, is Kryptonite based, if I have to use a LexCorp gun to go up against Superman, right? That's going to be an L in my opinion, right? Because if I'm building my character the way I want to play and the different play style that I want to play, but I have to use a specific brand of a gun because it has some sort of, trait on there where it's Kryptonite, then that's going to be bad, in my opinion.
Borrowed from.
For players who just want to play through the story, they'll get the full arsenal to be able to take on the Justice League. But for players who really want to sort of maximize their characters, the support squad missions unlock really cool features.
Our designers have put a lot of effort into making sure that when you play the game, you can have a very different experience from someone else.
Let's meet the rest of the support squad. Here we can see the scientist Gizmo, who has set up shop in the basement of the Hall of Justice.
You're perfect.
We know.
His primary contribution to the squad is the sort of airdropped vehicles that you can use for combat.
See that coming. That's cool.
You're getting into this flying vehicle with rockets and a turret. You sort of blow shit up. And the havoc you can create is outstanding.
Each character
He just chucked that car just right in. He's like, screw it.
from the DC universe offers the player a different way of interacting with the game.
I've been trying on the name Toyman. More like Annoy Man. Am I right?
Toyman is one character that helps you actually figure out ways of defeating the Justice League.
He's a tech boy genius who wants nothing more than to help save Metropolis. He can't quite come to terms with the fact that his heroes are now the villains.
Changing stuff is my middle name.
You can unlock more and more.
Now, Rose, they didn't make that game with the shitty Batmobile. That was the other people that made Gotham Knights.
Things you can do with Toyman to enhance your gear.
If you want to really perfect your gear to really suit how you like to play the game, Toyman's the character to talk to.
I'm Hack.
Hack is this sort of electronic astral projection.
Anything that has electricity, Hack can manifest through.
By working with Hack and increasing your talent points over the course of the game, you can unlock a whole myriad of different abilities.
For example, with Harley, you can increase her grenade damage.
Thank you!
Alongside the talent tree, we have what we call the combat combo system. As you're doing these more intricate moves, you build up your combo faster, and the higher that combo is, the more talents you activate.
Ah, this tough love!
Hack also uses her abilities to literally hack Brainiac's comms, so you get to listen in on what the Justice League is talking about, and you also get to hear their sort of corrupted personalities and how different they are from the heroes you once knew.
We have complete control, Brainiac.
Now let's talk about one more member of our support squad. Another infamous DC villain that Director Waller once recruited.
Uh-oh, warning! Story spoilers are ahead. Probably the ones that you just heard in the leaks, maybe. Let's see.
At this point in the game, the squad has discovered evidence that Poison Ivy may be alive.
Ivy.
People told me no. They said no. No, she's dead, 30. Poison Ivy's dead. Okay.
Poison Ivy? Dead Poison Ivy after Scarecrow gave Gotham a crop dusting.
For fans who paid close attention to Arkham Knight, they will remember that when Poison Ivy died, she left behind a little sprout.
I got a real strong hunch she ain't pushing up daisies no more.
And in this game, you discover that that sproutling has been cared for by some people who may have had their own motivations for doing so. But in the chaos of Metropolis, she's escaped.
Find her. Bring her to me for questioning.
Using special technology they've acquired, the Suicide Squad is tracking Ivy down.
Ivy's in the city. This tracker will lead you to her.
Unless y'all want to end up a poorly plated spring mix, you better put me in charge and let me talk to Ives first.
So when playing solo, players can switch between...
What is that? What was that?
And let me talk to Ives first.
Psyched up character Harley Quinn reduces her bruises, boosts your damage, recharging your abilities faster, and gain a lot more XP. Okay.
When playing solo, players can switch between any of the characters. You'll get to experience all the different play styles across all of the different missions.
And here we go!
You know, I'm going to feel really cocky for a second here. God damn, I like being right. It feels so good and freeing, especially when I do it on stream and I say it out loud and then the receipts happen. It's amazing. God damn, it feels good.
So here she is. Thought she'd be taller.
Are you serious right now? Poison Ivy is a redhead. This is a plant. You might be the dumbest.
gonna look like crazy looking or something, right? They'll be like, "Oh my god!"
There's my girl.
She is not made of meat. Is this what you call a vegetarian option?
I don't know you, but my pheromones remember you. Strange emotions.
Tell me about it. Wasn't expecting you to come in fun size. You really don't know me? Harley and Ivy forever? In 10-story burning letters?
Nope.
Jeez, LexCorp really did a number on you, huh, Red? He dressed you up in that outfit, too?
No. I took it.
Yeah, 100% Groot. Water.
When I broke out. He shut me in a room in his tower. If I worked on the things he wanted, I got a whole hour of sunlight every day.
What did he want?
Weapons, making them more effective against the alien invaders. You know, they're very susceptible to plant toxins. And, I know all about plant toxins.
We know. That's why they call you Poison Ivy.
It's just Ivy, weirdo.
Where's Lex now?
I don't know. Something spooked him, I guess. He got in his big robot suit and stomped off.
Ooh, I know that look. Who you murdering?
The corrupted things that are coming. All of them. They're poisoning the earth with their gross bodies. So
Is this a Signs thing? Like the aliens in that movie hated water, and now these guys hate plants?
lured them here.
The wrath of nature. I like it.
Oh, this is my friend Daphne. We'll make all the aliens choke to death on spores. You make sure Daphne doesn't die, or you're next.
I'm getting a Groot meets Tiny Tina kind of vibe right now.
Next.
Waller, be advised Lex is AWOL in a power suit, and Ivy's an eco-terrorist middle schooler. Dead shot out.
How'd we end up hugging a giant plant? I have allergies. Anyone care? Ah!
Here's a brief look at the mission that follows your first encounter with Ivy. You'll see a variety of custom builds and loadouts that draw on the power of DC villains.
Ivy's plans need protection. Split up your squad to attack from different directions.
Our asses won't get kicked just standing here. Now go defend!
Combat in this game revolves around 3 core pillars: traversal, gunplay, and melee. Someone like Deadshot can take a vantage point, can provide cover fire.
That shot right there didn't even hit. He got a headshot.
Deadshot can take a vantage point.
Like, look at that. Does he even put it on his head? He's dead. The crosshair never even touched his head.
Can provide cover fire. You can.
The gunplay does feel good. It does feel good.
Find wild ways to upgrade your melee attacks. With the Great Suspender, a single boomerang can launch several enemies off the ground.
A job worth doing right.
Harley's gun is from the Bane's Rage set. Landing a critical hit spawns a power-up that can infuse other weapons like grenades with Bane's Rage, making them more powerful.
Get the invaders off Daphne! Quickly! Those aliens pollute everything!
King Shark's loadout here includes Black Mask's Bulletstorm and the Heatwave's Molten Shield to synergize. He is triggered with Bulletstorm effect, which means that he's now immune from damage thanks to the Heatwave's Molten Shield, making this a perfect opportunity to get in close.
Savor it.
This mission is where we introduce afflictions, elemental attacks from Ivy's plans that draw on the powers of different DC villains. Use an affliction to freeze your enemies before you deliver an explosive finale.
Task Force X, report. Have you secured Ivy?
Yeah, kind of a funny story.
Although she doesn't remember her old life, Ivy is still a deadly expert with toxins, and she can offer your builds an interesting new feature, afflictions.
The results are so neat.
When you manage to recruit her, she comes back to the Hall of Justice as kind of like a loose cannon, precocious toddler who also has terrifying genetic engineering powers.
Then we introduced the concept of afflictions. Players can apply these afflictions to their melee weapons, their grenades, so they can mix and match different things for the encounter.
And each affliction ties back to a DC character.
So we have
Freeze, lightning. Okay.
4 afflictions. Diablo Blaze sets people on fire, burns them over time. But you can't shield harvest them. We have Deep Freeze, freezes people. You can shatter them with your guns, but they are pretty resistant to melee damage. They won't drop ammo when they die.
At any point, you can have up to 2 different elemental afflictions, then add in the 3 other players. So what you've got there is lots of different ways to engage with enemies.
I feel like the combo system that you're doing, if you're running with a team, one built one way, one built the other, and then you'll do a lot more damage, which is interesting. Almost like Anthem. And Borderlands.
Your fight is far from over.
So at Rocksteady, what we sort of pride ourselves on is investigating how players play. Do they get the language that we're trying to create? We had an amazing opportunity to get a group of proper gamers from the community involved in the development process pretty early.
Some of the characters, the mission types during the story, I'd definitely say this has got a Rocksteady stamp on it.
The experience of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is really fluid, really smooth, and it feels really polished. It's chaos in a good way.
It's very fast and very momentum-based. And I think there's a lot of verticality to it.
No other game that makes you feel so free and powerful.
Yes!
You also have this deep...
You do feel powerful. For what I played, you do feel powerful.
Building of your character with a more superhero twist. For example, I kind of gravitated towards Dead Shark because I'm a big fan of shooting guns and big crit builds. You can use the juggling mechanic to get 100% crit chance, and then from there, do big damage.
The knowledge that we gained, seeing players explore the mechanics, it gave us like a little taste of what it's going to be like when we got like a bigger community to share the game with.
Now listen, how about a team up?
With the studio made the Arkham series, we were very much focused on single character, single perspective. And with this game, we saw that opportunity to get the community more involved.
For us, it was about expanding and enhancing into something new and different. And we wanted this experience to be shared with more than just one person.
One of the coolest experiences in the game is when you're playing with friends and each character can tackle the problems that you're facing together differently.
You are learning how to overcome challenges together.
All these characters are geared up to be able to complement each other.
Because each of them is moving differently, sometimes another character might come in from a direction you don't expect. You can create unintentional cinematic moments with your friend. When you really are in sync with your squad, it's such a special feeling, and I think something I haven't experienced in any other game.
Multiplayer is new for the studio, but it's super exciting because we get to see Rocksteady hallmarks of story-driven game, but from multiple perspectives, and getting to share that with your friends is pretty unique.
We hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Suicide Squad Insider.
Phew, I need a smoke.
I need more therapy.
In our next episode, we'll take a look at what you can expect from our game after launch.
This is the biggest
That's what I'm interested in, and that's a month away from now.
cinematic experience that Rocksteady has ever created, with more hours of cinematic cutscenes than ever before. But I think we leave the setting of our story open enough that for post-launch content, players will be excited to come back and find out what we're going to do next.
You, want to talk about it?
Know what, Quinn? I do.
I don't think players are ready for the new playable characters they're going to get, or even the places they're going to get to take them.
This game is much bigger than the world of the Suicide Squad. Rocksteady will continue to build on the story.
We're delivering you a full game, but for those that want to go further, we're going to have lots of new updates that are free to our players, and we really want to engage with our community to give them new experiences regularly.
At the end of the game, everyone goes, wow, this was a hell of a ride.
I am excited to fight Superman. Like, how the hell, right? Like, in Diablo, you're fighting Uber Lilith. And here, you're fighting Superman. Evil Superman. Like, how the hell are you going to fight him?
Let's play again.
All right. We'll let that play in the background as I look. I still can't speak of what I played, but they showed a lot of stuff and more stuff that we didn't get to play. I think it's cool that the map itself is evolving. Like Poison Ivy has little things going around and taking over and making it more jungle. I knew she was coming back. Now, we talked about it a month ago, okay? We talked about it a month ago that anyone can come back. Anyone can come back in a comic book. It happens in comic books all the time. They die off in a comic and they come back. I said Poison Ivy is coming back. I think I said I guarantee she's coming back, okay? And I'm pretty sure other characters that died or are not, that weren't in at the end of the Batman Arkham series, that they can come back too, right? It's a comic book, right? I don't know why this is like people talking about, well, in this, she died, and then people die all the time in comic books and they come back. So I'm excited. Joker's dead. Okay. If they, after next month when they do the deep dive, okay, all the characters that come in after the fact, this game, regardless if it's good or not, lives or dies based on because they're giving free content, okay? There has to be so many more characters that you're going to play over the next year, and so many more villains than heroes to use, because heroes to use, you're going to be playing the same campaign over and over, unless once it's over, it's like the Black Tusk happens in like Division 2, right? So like once you're done with the campaign, and again, I'm speculating here. I don't have no idea if this is what's happening. At the end of the game, does it open up and like new villains set up the story for like you play the campaign, you're done with the campaign, and then all of a sudden, boom, campaign's done, and now another something happens, and then the game continues on with the content, and they give you a new hero. Because if I have to play the same hero or a new hero with the same content I just went through, people are going to get burnt out from that real fast. But if end of the game happens, they bring in a new hero, and then all of a sudden you're using that hero with the new Black Tusk enemies and stuff like that, like in Division 2 after the fact, that would be interesting. I'm more interested in what happens after the fact, but I'm in it for the story. I think the story is going to look great. That's why I'm excited for Rocksteady. I trust in them for the stories. I love the Arkham story. 1, 2, and 3. All the games to me were fantastic. I trust them to make a good story with this. I don't trust anybody to make a live service game to work because they're giving all the content for free. And me and Kinger talked last day, right? Where we, the players, have all the power. You don't like something, you don't buy it. If you like something, you buy it. Well, with games like this, if it doesn't make the money, then they don't want to support it anymore. So it's like, as long as people play the game, they'll put more content out. But if people are not buying the cosmetics or whatever else, then it's going to change. Now, you can see certain things. Obviously, we're going to have cosmetics for our characters. I'm sure there's going to be cosmetics for the guns. I'm sure they put a vehicle in the game so you can customize that as well. So it's one more thing you can purchase to get microtransactions so you can get some sort of really cool looking car. I'm sure that's all in there. As long as the game is good, it's fun, and I can earn stuff in the game on top of the microtransactions that they're going to sell regardless if we like it or not. That's my biggest issue here, right? As long as they give me a good story, as long as it goes somewhere, and I'm not doing the exact same thing repetitive after the fact of the game, because if you guys noticed, you're not leveling up the same. It's not like Gotham Knights. So if you're playing the game, you're playing through as Boomerang, you could switch to any character you want, but you got to play the character to level up. So we'll see what happens. It needs to, or it will get stale. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of look like the update is refined maps in Crackdown 3, just done better. It's kind of looks like the updated and refined map of Crackdown 3. I like the map, the details, and the Easter eggs that are all over the place. I'm interested in what this is as far as like with Penguin with the guns. Again, I hope it's not like what they talked about the afflictions with Poison Ivy, and then also with the guns that you make with Penguin. I'm interested to see what happens with Penguin. Again, I don't want to fight Superman, and I have to have the kryptonite gun, only using it from this, because that kind of limits me. As long as I can put the different affliction on with this, and combination, maybe it does more damage. Obviously, just like Marvel's Avengers, the player base is going to find which one works better than the other. And that'll be the meta. That's just like any game. So it'd be interesting. I'm really interested in how many characters they're going to bring in. And I really don't want to have the same thing that happened with Marvel's Avengers, where the hype is, oh, all these characters are coming, and then we're like 3 months in, 5 months in, 6 months in, we don't get a character. And then 7 months in, 8 months in, they're like, oh, yeah, well, you know, I don't want that to happen. I hope they have already in the pipeline, because it was supposed to come out in May. Now it's coming out in February of this next year. And now they've had 10 months to hopefully flush out the first year content. So when the game launches, there's no big bugs, glitches, and they can just put the content out and worry about the future content, not fixing the content that's in the game at launch. Sarge says, but that's the gamble. If you're going to gamble on repetitive gameplay and say free, but you need to buy our junk or to continue making content. Otherwise, we shut down whatever we want. But that's what I'm saying, Sarge. As long as they have the first year in the can and they just release it when it hits a certain date and they keep updating it, cool. I personally would like I've been saying for every comic book game, like, let's say Peacemaker comes in. He's the next character. The story revolves around Peacemaker's story character, and they have like a small little storyline for Peacemaker, or if they bring in whatever other character, there's a little story. Why am I playing it? Give me some story. They say the more cutscenes than ever with future content, right? Let me go back over here real fast.
Do they get the language that we're trying to create?
You also have this big down.
And we saw that opportunity to get the community more involved.
For us, it was about expanding more than just one.
Is when together cinematic moments with your squad.
A story-driven game, but from multiple perspectives, and getting to share that with your friends is pretty unique.
We hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Suicide Squad Insider.
Phew, I need a smoke.
I need more therapy.
In our next episode, we'll take a look at what you can expect from our game after launch.
This is the biggest cinematic experience that Rocksteady has ever created, with more hours of cinematic cutscenes than ever before. But I think we leave the setting of our story open enough that for post-launch content, players will be excited to come back and find out what we're going to do next.
I know that. I know that's very generic, but it sounds like Black Tusk at the end of the game. Leave it open-ended. Play some game until the next content comes out. But we'll see. Sarge says it still smell Avengers. We will see. Yeah. I don't like the Poison Ivy little kid as first glance, but I was right. That Poison Ivy. I don't like that it's the Groot mentality. Like, she died and she came back as a little seedling and now she's coming back. I mean, I would rather, as a DC comic book fan, I want to see hot-ass Poison Ivy. I feel like they try to make the girls ugly nowadays, right? Harley Quinn doesn't look very attractive either, right? And now you have a kid instead of a full-grown woman that she was with Poison Ivy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with the characters and stuff that they bring in. So, all right, well, that'll do it for me. I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us this morning. I wanted to make sure that we got to talk about this and watch this live. Other than that, I do appreciate you very much. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. We'll be back tonight for some more gameplay. If you guys missed the show last night, I did an interview with the Kinger. Go watch that. It was a 2.5 hour. Appreciate it very much. Hit that subscribe button. I'd like to go above and beyond that. Hit the membership button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.